Welcome to my channel. Marvel, starting with the 01 system. Chapter 41 Venom's Appearance. Spider-Man Peter rushed to the Osborn Corporation building, but Gwen Stacy had already left. Gwen, worried that something had happened at home, didn't notice that her white high heels had now turned black. Gwen, hurrying home, passed by an electronics store. 3 black men are buying electronics for free at an electronics store. The green mist summoned by the Hands evil beasts previously caused all New York City residents to fall into a coma, but now people are gradually starting to wake up. Some of those who woke up first couldn't resist the temptation to commit crimes. Get away! Get away! 3 black men holding several laptops shouted at Gwen. Gwen was standing right on their escape route. You're breaking the law. If it were the normal Gwen, although she also hated crime, she wouldn't have the guts to confront criminals so directly. For some reason, Gwen Stacy felt her sense of justice had doubled today, but at the same time, she felt more impulsive. Hey little beauty, you're here to learn how to be a superhero too. The black man in the lead looked Gwen up and down with a lewd gaze. Want to go into the alley? I'll play a game of superheroes versus villains with you. As they spoke, several black men surrounded Gwen and led her into the alley. Oh no, how could I have been so foolish as to follow them into the alley? Gwen instantly sobered up after entering the alley. She didn't know why, but her body seemed to be out of control, and she had followed the 3 black men. He. Little beauty, I'm here. A black man chuckled lewdly, rubbing his hands together as he slowly approached Gwen. Take one down first, then run away. Although she was momentarily confused, the clever Gwen instantly remembered that she had a stun gun in her bag. If she took one down first, she would still have a chance to escape. But at that moment, her body went out of control. Starting from my legs, it felt as if a viscous liquid was rapidly spreading throughout my body. Devil! Monster! The 3 black men who had intended to harass the girl ran away as if they had seen a devil or a monster, and some were so frightened that they lost their footing and fell to the ground. A black figure flashed by and stood at the alley entrance, blocking the path of the 3 black men. Please, have mercy on us. I have an elderly person who is 3 years old and a child who is 80 years old, a black man pleaded incoherently on his knees. No wonder he was so timid. Standing in front of him was a woman dressed in a black bodysuit that accentuated her sexy figure. She wore a black and white hooded vest, and the onesie on her head looked like a monster's mouth, with blood red filling the white, sharp tooth-like brim. A long, blood-red tongue extended from the brim of the hat. This monstrous character is Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy's Venom version. The venom that secretly possessed Gwen's body from the Osborn Corporation has been trying to influence her health. It finally worked just now. I'm so hungry. Venom shouted, controlling Gwen's body, before charging towards the 3 black men. After a symbiote attaches to a host, it can enhance the host's physical attributes. Even now, having just possessed the body, he easily overpowered these ordinary people, like a tiger entering a pack of wolves. Venom Gwen devoured 3 black people alive. The venom quickly dissipated after ingestion, remaining hidden within Gwen's body. Once she regained her balance, Gwen squatted down on the ground, panting heavily, as if she had just done a lot of exercise. What happened? I killed someone. Gwen Stacy stared in horror at the alleyway covered in blood. Although Gwen lost control of her body just now, she still had her senses. In her perception, she became a monster and ate the 3 black men. Who are you? Gwen Stacy finally discovered the other being within her. A viscous, venomous body emerged from Gwen Stacy's body, revealing a monstrous head. I am Venom. Venom said, opening his mouth to reveal a large mouth full of teeth. Why are you inside my body? Gwen asked Venom. Venom needs a host, and you need power. We need each other. Venom, as a symbiote, possesses Gwen Stacy's body. It has deeply understood Gwen's heart. Gwen Stacy is a very righteous and brave girl, but she doesn't have that power. Especially whenever her boyfriend, Spider-Man Peter Parker, abandons her to fight the enemy, she longs to have the power to fight alongside Peter. Venom amplified some of Gwen's inner qualities, making her more righteous, braver, and more eager for power. You're right, I crave power, but I can't punish criminals like this, they don't deserve to die. Gwen said righteously. But Venom is very hungry, Venom said to Gwen, sounding very aggrieved. That's easy. Do you like buffets? 18-year-old Gwen Stacy said as she walked outside. She knew a really good buffet. After Harry finished dealing with everything, he returned to Osborn Corporation. Just as he reached the door, Spider-Man Peter flew down from above. Harry, my money, no, have you seen Gwen? Peter Parker's first reaction upon seeing Harry was to ask about money, before he realized that his girlfriend Gwen Stacy was more important. Harry was speechless. Was Spider-Man Peter Parker specifically there to ambush him? How could someone who's a billionaire steal his money? That's a narrow-minded approach. Of course, Harry Osborn had completely forgotten about it. I was just thinking about going to the gene lab to find the mastermind behind it all. But Harry would never admit it. He first contacted Izzy to confirm that Gwen Stacy had left. Gwen has left, Harry said after hanging up the phone. Then he took out his wallet and pulled out a check for $10,000. No, 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 this is too much, Harry. Peter, who had only ever taken photos for the Daily Bugle and was often penalized for various reasons, had never seen so much money before. Sorry, this is the smallest denomination I have in my wallet, Harry said helplessly. Then Harry patted Peter Parker on the shoulder to comfort him. Peter, you deserve this. You know, hiring a professional photographer to shoot an advertisement can cost hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. Some even reach the tens of millions level. Of course, you're not at that level, but I won't give you much either, it'll be the normal price. Thank you, Harry. Peter hugged Harry gratefully, knowing that Harry was helping him. You're welcome, Peter. We're friends, aren't we? Harry said sincerely, looking into Peter's eyes. That's right. We're friends. Peter Parker said firmly. Peter, I need your help with something. What kind of help? I'll definitely help if I can, Peter said confidently. Peter, let me be frank, I need your blood, not much, just 100 milliliters. Harry finally revealed his true intentions, expressing what he had always wanted. What do you need my blood for? Peter was shocked, he looked at Harry in disbelief. As you know, my father, Norman Osborn, passed away. Our Osborn family has a hereditary disease that causes death at a certain age, and there is no cure. So, Peter. I need your blood, the power that makes you Spider-Man, to save me. Harry shouted at Peter Parker. Harry, Peter was so shocked by Harry's words that he was speechless for a moment. On one hand, he was very saddened after learning about Harry's hereditary disease and was afraid that Harry would really die. On the other hand, Peter had doubts and wondered about the truth of the matter and whether his blood could really save Harry. The indecisive Peter Parker could only temporarily refuse Harry. I'm sorry. Harry, I need to think about it. Peter needs to investigate first. If Harry's genetic disease is real, he will use his own methods to save Harry. Harry couldn't agree with Peter's words, but he understood Peter's actions, since they were on different sides. It's all right, Peter. Just pretend I didn't say anything. Harry turned and left. Peter felt as if he had lost a friend when he saw Harry leave, but he was powerless to stop him. Left with no other option, he had to leave and investigate the truth behind it all. Harry turned his head and watched Spider-Man Peter swinging back and forth. Peter, I understand you, but please don't blame me. Chapter 42 Talking with Peter. Harry understood Peter, but Peter didn't understand Harry. The genetic disease within Harry OS has always existed, and if it is not addressed, it will cause problems sooner or later. So now his next plan is to obtain Peter Parker's blood. His plan was to first purge all the criminal elements in Hell's Kitchen. Then they devise a way to lure Peter Parker out, so the Thunder agents can assemble and gang up on Spider-Man Peter. Let him know what a real mastermind is. Of course, there's no rush now. Harry has another very important purpose in coming to the Osborn Group. That is to rebuild the Osborn Group. Some people in the Osborn Group lost their lives in this incident, and others who survived developed some psychological problems, though whether these are genuine psychological issues is unknown. Anyway, a lot of people approached Harry Osborn, asking for psychological compensation. Harry was very understanding of these people, after all, they had encountered monsters and been attacked, so it was normal for them to have problems. The employees want compensation from the Osborn Group, and that's possible. $200,000 per person, but on the condition that they voluntarily sign a resignation contract. Of course, those at the bottom would receive $200,000, while those at the leadership level would receive $500,000. Harry's words silenced the employees, but soon some were willing to resign and take the money. After all, they could find other jobs, but this money was free. Harry Osborn has $5 billion invested by the military. He's not short of money at all. Izzy walked over with a stack of severance agreements, and everyone lined up to sign them and receive their money. Soon everyone left. Then Harry took out his phone and called Max, the supervisor at the Humagear automated manufacturing plant, to inform him to start producing employee-type Humagears. He planned to replace all the departing employees with Humagears. This has always been his plan, to replace the entire Osborn Group with the company where Humagear works. This way, he can keep the entire company firmly in his hands without having to manage it himself, because the Humagears are absolutely loyal to him. Max listened to Harry very much, and then Max said a lot of things, such as how long it had been since he had seen Harry and how much he missed his friend. Harry agreed and spent some time talking with Max. An hour had passed by the time Harry hung up the phone. In fact, Harry could have replaced Max, since Max was no longer needed. But Harry didn't do that. After all, Max was the first person to help him, helping him create the first Humagear. Moreover, this person is not a bad person, he has contributed to the company. Harry then allowed Max to continue as manager. Harry is not a good person, but he is not a bad person either. He has his own set of principles for doing things. Just like with Peter, he didn't take advantage of the battle with Lizard Wilson to immediately steal Spider-Man Peter's blood. He gave Peter a chance, but Peter didn't seize it. Since Peter wouldn't give it to him, he had no choice but to take it himself. Strictly speaking, the Spider-Man serum belongs to the Osborn Corporation, which in turn belongs to the current president of the Osborn Corporation, Harry. There's nothing wrong with him taking back his things. After dealing with the internal affairs of the Osborn Group, Harry instructed Izzy to start editing and producing the video. Among them is the life of the villain Kingpin Wilson Fisk. The Evil Hand invades New York. The ultimate assemble of supervillains, the Sinister Six. Thunderbolts vs. the Sinister Six. The handsome life of Harry Osborn. Tony Stark, who plays a minor role. Captain America, the ever-late old man. Once this series of short videos is released, it will definitely cause a huge uproar, and the emotional value will jump up again. Whether it is the goodwill value or the malice value, it is necessary for him. In addition, Harry arranged for the creation of the comic artist Humagear to draw Kamen Rider comics featuring him as the protagonist, as well as the sale of Thunder Force Kamen Rider. We must focus on both short videos and comics, and ensure both are strong, so that both arts and culture flourish. Just then, General Ross called. Harry Osborn. When are you going to deliver the Humagear and Magia you promised me? General Ross's loud voice came through as soon as he answered the phone. He recently hunted down the Hulk, suffering greatly and losing a lot of heavy military weapons without capturing him. Don't worry, General Ross. You know that the Osborn Group was just attacked, and the Humagears suffered heavy losses. Harry wasn't lying. Of the 3,000 Humagears that participated in the battle, only 500 remained, and these 500 were no longer usable after being transformed into clover-shaped Magia. Of the 5,000 Humagear units previously manufactured, only 2,000 remain. 1,000 of these were used to build a Humagear automated factory, while the other 1,000 were custom-made Humagear units that have already been shipped to buyers. Harry, I don't want to hear your explanations. You should know that $5 billion has already been transferred to you. Now the military wants to see results, General Ross said in a deep voice. Harry laughed at this, not caring about General Ross's attitude, because he already had a plan. General Ross, in that case, I will hand over all the Humagear technology and Magia technology to you. What? General Ross couldn't believe his ears. Technology is the lifeblood of a company, just like Tony Stark would never hand over the complete armor manufacturing technology. Even under threats from the military, Tony Stark only agreed to build an Iron Man suit for his friend, Colonel James Rhodes. Now Harry Osborn has agreed to hand over all the technology to the military. You're not kidding, are you? Of course not, General Ross, I've always been on the military's side, Harry said hypocritically. Anyway, Harry had already handed over the manufacturing technology of Humagears and Magia to SHIELD, but the military was just unaware of the news for the time being. Harry is willing to hand over this technology to anyone, whether it's the military, Hydra, or any other organization. If Wilson Fisk hadn't had the villains attack him, but instead had spoken to him politely, he would have handed over the technology to Wilson Fisk. In any case, it doesn't matter to him who created the Humagears and Magia. Harry possesses Zea and Ark, and unless the Humagear technological singularity awakens, he is an absolute god. Furthermore, the technological singularity had to be granted by Harry. He didn't give the other Humagears the setting for technological singularity, so they couldn't awaken it, they didn't have that ability, you know? Apart from Izu, no other Humagear can awaken the technological singularity, so he can control all Humagears. Regardless of which faction manufactures Humagears, they are all being manufactured for him, they are all his arsenals. Chapter 43 Hell and Number 039, S Kitchen Chaos. After the death of Kingpin Wilson Fisk, Hell's Kitchen descended into chaos. First, the Tombstone, a supervillain under Wilson Fisk, led the Prowlers, a supervillain, to gather some of Kingpin's remaining forces and become the new boss. Then, Hammerhead, also a supervillain, led his magic gang into a conflict with the Devil Gang led by Mr. Negative, another supervillain. They all had their eyes on Wilson Fisk's territory. Back when Kingpin Wilson Fisk was around, no one in Hell's Kitchen dared to do this. The problem is that now that Kingpin is dead, supervillains without anyone to restrain them have emerged, all wanting to become the new master of Hell's Kitchen and the new king of New York. There can only be one king, so the war began. On the streets of Hell's Kitchen, Daredevil Matt leans against a wall, panting heavily, with a dozen gang members lying sprawled at his feet. He was in good physical condition and usually didn't need much effort to fight these criminals, but tonight he encountered far too many criminals. Robbery, sexual assault, human trafficking, arson, gang warfare. He has already taken down more than 50 criminals tonight. I never imagined that Hell's Kitchen would experience such turmoil after Kingpin's death, Matt Daredevil murmured. He didn't know how to resolve this war, but he wasn't one to give up easily. Daredevil Matt steadied himself in the alley and walked out. About 20 gangsters, armed with weapons, gathered outside. Daredevil Matt sensed what was happening outside from inside the alley using his super hearing. Even though he was exhausted, he still came out because he didn't know where the group of armed criminals would go, but this situation was definitely not a good thing. He had to stop these criminals. Daredevil Matt stood in the shadows at the alley entrance, ready to ambush a few gangsters. Otherwise, dealing with more than 20 armed gangsters would be very difficult, especially since he is not slow in stamina. The gangsters outside walked forward, chatting, which revealed to Matt that they were actually Hammerhead's henchmen. Hammerhead's real name is Joseph Harlow. He is a Russian immigrant to the United States and a member of countless gangs in New York. He suffered a severe head injury in a gang fight, and doctors replaced his skull with an iron one, giving him an invulnerable head that made him a godlike figure in the underworld. With his iron head, he became a New York mob boss. Later, he accidentally obtained adamantium and, knowing its incredible hardness, immediately had it replaced with his iron head. Now with his adamantium head, he could practically knock over a car with just one head. It was only because of this adamantium head that he had the confidence to compete with Mr. Negative. These gangsters are now following Hammerhead's orders to attack Mr. Negative in Chinatown. Daredevil Matt couldn't let them go. If a shootout broke out in Chinatown tonight, the entire Chinatown would be reduced to ruins, and countless innocent civilians would be caught in the crossfire. With that thought in mind, Daredevil Matt launched an attack with his weapon, the Billy Club. The Billy Club is a multifunctional weapon created by Daredevil Matt, who modified his guide cane into a pair of sticks that can be separated by a long steel cable. Daredevil Matt swung the other end of the stick with force, precisely wrapping it around the neck of a gangster. Then, using the winch connected to the short stick in his hand, he retrieved the short stick that had been thrown out. The gangsters, who were being entangled, were dragged into the alley. Daredevil then knocked out the gangsters with a single blow. Then used the same method to deal with the next enemy. Unfortunately, they only managed to knock out a few before the gangsters discovered them. After all, these gangsters, though just small fry, weren't stupid, they couldn't possibly remain oblivious forever. Who is it? Someone's attacking. He's in the alley. Knowing he'd been exposed, Daredevil Matt deliberately made noise to draw the attention of the gangsters. Daredevil Matt knew all along that it was impossible to wipe out the entire gang of henchmen this way, and luring them into the alley was part of his plan. Daredevil Matt waited for them a while, and after some of the gangsters came in, he jumped onto the trash can in front of them, and used the height of the trash can to jump onto the fire escape ladder outside the building. Fuck him, he's there. Shoot. Shoot. The gang leader pulled out his Chicago typewriter and started firing wildly at Daredevil Matt. However, with the fire escape ladder in the way and Daredevil Matt running fast, not a single bullet hit him. Chase him. Go and kill him, the gangster thug ordered. Who are they? They are a tyrannical gang that usually bullies others, never the other way around. Especially today, they are all fully armed, so they wouldn't be afraid even if Captain America came. The gang leader patted the Chicago typewriter in his hand, then led the way, climbing onto a trash can, then jumping onto a fire escape ladder, and chasing after Daredevil Matt. At that moment, he felt like he was Thanos holding a fully diamond infinity gauntlet. Matt Daredevil breathed a sigh of relief as he watched the gangsters climb up one by one. The plan was finally accomplished, but he was afraid that these gangsters would be too calm and wouldn't fall for it. His plan was to lure the gang members to the rooftop by launching a sneak attack, and then eliminate them one by one. The only flaw in this plan is that the other party might not be so impulsive. But now, looking back, he was overthinking it. A small fry is just a small fry after all. Daredevil Matt stood quietly on the rooftop, adjusting his breathing, hoping to regain some strength. Unfortunately, a gangster soon showed up, and Daredevil Matt kicked him unconscious. The gangster leader, who was holding a Chicago typewriter, was also taken care of with a single kick. The Thanos who instantly became fully diamond enhanced was kicked into oblivion. Then, before Daredevil Matt could even notice who the kicker was, the others were already moving upwards. Every one of them who came up was knocked down by Daredevil Matt, which is why he chose to fight on the roof. The fire escape ladder can only accommodate 1 or 2 people at a time, and the others have to wait in line. After defeating 10 people, Daredevil Matt suddenly sensed something was wrong. Ah! A monster! Screams, gasps, and sounds of fighting erupted from below. Then, all the sounds ceased. Matt Daredevil used his super hearing to sense what was below. He heard a strong, powerful heartbeat, while everyone else's voices were faint. It seemed as if this person had defeated everyone else. Gradually, the sound got closer and louder. Finally, Daredevil Matt sensed that the person had come up in front of him. Chapter 44 Killing Hammerhead. Who are you? Daredevil Matt had only ever seen one person with such a powerful heartbeat in Hell's Kitchen, Kingpin Wilson Fisk. Now standing before him was a human whose strength seemed to be comparable to that of Kingpin Wilson Fisk. I am Venom, a rookie superhero. Hello, Daredevil. Venom Gwen stood opposite Daredevil Matt. Having been possessed by Venom, Gwen's body has been enhanced by the Venom, and her strength has grown to over 20 tons. Moreover, this power is not the limit, her power continues to increase over time. Now that she has superpowers, she can finally be a superhero. Today was her first time going out, and she happened to run into Daredevil Matt fighting with gangsters. Having read about Daredevil in the newspaper, Gwen immediately decided to help him. Possessed by Venom, she was no match for ordinary people, and quickly wiped out all her enemies. Of course, Gwen did not kill anyone, she controlled Venom and strictly forbade Venom from killing anyone. I've never seen Venom possessed by someone as righteous as Gwen, he's extremely obedient to her. Venom. Daredevil Matt pondered the meaning of the name. He hadn't expected the newcomers to be so formidable. That Spider-Man possessed immense power, and that Kamen Rider Harry Osborn had defeated his lifelong enemy, Kingpin. Now a new superhero, Venom, has appeared, which makes him, as a veteran superhero, lose face. However, Daredevil Matt didn't have time to think about that, because he had just learned that the supervillain Hammerhead was gathering his men to attack Mr. Negative in Chinatown. He knew that the war would cause widespread death and destruction, and he had to stop it. Therefore, he needs the power of Venom, even if it's the first time he's met it, even if the other party is a novice hero. Venom, I need your help. Meanwhile, the supervillain Hammerhead led 100 of his henchmen, armed and fully armed, to the entrance of Chinatown. Martin, Mr. Negative. Today is your death day. There can only be one king in Hell's Kitchen, and that king is me, Hammerhead. Hammerhead rubbed his smooth, hard head and said fiercely. Just then, the sound of a motorcycle came from behind. As everyone looked, a green motorcycle sped towards them. It braked suddenly and came to a stop at the entrance of Chinatown. A very handsome 18-year-old young man dressed in black casual clothes got off the motorcycle. Hey, where is the honey badger going? Coming to Chinatown so late at night, is he just here to eat dumplings? Harry Osborn. Hammerhead looked at the newcomer in shock. He never expected that the famous Kamen Rider Harry Osborn would come to Hell's Kitchen. And they found this nobody, who, you should know, had a video of him beheading Kingpin Wilson Fisk that had spread throughout the streets and alleys of New York City. Hell's Kitchen, in particular, is watched by everyone, just in case they accidentally offend this big shot and get the Thunder team coming after them. Kamen Rider Harry Osborn and his Thunder team are now truly a household name in New York City. Mr. Osborn, we haven't offended you, have we? What brings you here? Hammerhead asked tremblingly. Haha, what do superheroes do when they seek out supervillains? Of course, it's to eliminate you. Harry Osborn laughed as he got off his motorcycle and walked towards Hammerhead and his 100+ henchmen. Attack. Fire. Seeing that a battle was inevitable, Hammerhead no longer hesitated and ordered his men to attack Harry Osborn. He is also one of the biggest mob bosses in New York, and he will fight back to the death even if he encounters an enemy he cannot defeat. With his adamantium head, he believed he was not afraid of anyone. But his men hesitated when they heard his order. The Kamen Rider in the video was too powerful, and no one was willing to die easily, not even the gangsters. Don't be afraid of him. He's just one person. His Thunder Special Forces and Humagears aren't here. What are you afraid of if there are 100 of us against one? Whoever kills the other will receive a reward of $100 million. Hammerhead shouted loudly, knowing that his henchmen would never dare to make a move if he didn't do so. Hammerhead's words finally moved some people, or perhaps it was the gun in his hand that gave them courage. Bang bang bang. Someone fired a shot. Ding ding ding. Just as the bullet was about to hit Harry, Harry transformed into Kamen Rider. The attack flashes in the form of a locust. Its excellent defensive capabilities mean that bullets simply cannot penetrate its defenses, no matter how many guns the enemy has. Harry didn't waste any words and immediately pulled out the authorized destroyer gun form after transforming. The gun barrel focused its energy, and a single shot was fired, exploding among the gangsters. Blood splattered from limbs. Against the backdrop of the night, it resembles a rose blooming in the darkness. Harry walked forward, and with each pull of the trigger, 4 or 5 henchmen were blown to pieces. A weapon of this caliber could kill Daredevil Matt with a single shot, let alone an ordinary person. No one could stop Harry. The gang thugs dared not attack, they threw down their guns and fled. Even Hammerhead forgot to stop his men. Watching it on video is a different story from encountering it in the real world. Now he finally understood why Kingpin Wilson Fisk had failed. The person in front of me is indeed invincible. Harry Osborn, reaping lives in the darkness, his deep blue breastplate gleaming strangely in the moonlight, now resembled the Grim Reaper. But Hammerhead will not admit defeat, even if the opponent is a god. Hammerhead charged at Harry with all his might, just like the honey badger charging at a lion in the animal kingdom, unstoppable. Bang! Harry was knocked back 10 meters. He hadn't expected the hammer to be able to knock him back. According to his previous understanding, the other party should have only been wearing a regular iron head. Your head? Harry asked, puzzled. Ha 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 ha, I didn't expect that with the adamantium head, the hardest metal in the world, even your Kamen Rider is no match for me. Hammerhead, having knocked Harry away, regained his confidence. He saw hope for victory. If he could defeat the Kamen Rider before him, no one in Hell's Kitchen would be able to stop him. Adamantium? That's good stuff. Harry was surprised that even he hadn't been able to find adamantium, which had ended up in the hands of a minor villain. But now it's mine, Harry said with a smile. What? Before Hammerhead could react, Harry activated his thrusters, entering super speed, and used his authorized destroyer axe form to slice off Hammerhead's head with a single blow. Then Harry pulled the adamantium out of it. Holding the blood-soaked adamantium skull, Harry kicked the hammer to pieces. Chapter 45 MR. Negative. The supervillain Hammerhead was defeated by Harry in less than 3 minutes after his appearance. The remaining gangsters, seeing their boss dead, didn't dare to continue the attack and all ran away. Hammerhead came to see me, isn't this very impolite of you? A young man's voice came from Chinatown. As the sound rang out, the streetlights at the entrance of Chinatown dimmed, as if enveloped by a special energy. Harry looked into Chinatown and saw a man wearing a black and white suit with skin that looked like a black and white negative photograph come out. This man is the boss of the Chinatown Devil Gang, the supervillain Mr. Negative. Oh? Sounds like you have a lot of opinions about this, Harry said casually, toying with the adamantium skull in his hand. Humph, do you think you're invincible just because you've dealt with Wilson Fisk and Hammerhead? This is my territory. As Mr. Negative spoke, more than 100 henchmen wearing demon masks and wielding strange weapons poured out of Chinatown and surrounded Harry. Is that all you've got? Harry sneered. These 100-odd henchmen weren't even enough for him to handle. Then let me see just how capable you really are. Mr. Negative stretched out his hands, releasing a strange glow of negative energy that enveloped the entire area. The entire street was covered by Mr. Negative's negative energy. The dim, dilapidated scene came into view, and it was as if the place had been changed instantly, as if one had fallen into hell. Meanwhile, Mr. Negative's henchmen were also empowered by negative energy, and their demon masks and weapons emitted strange light. It's obvious that it was enhanced by Mr. Negative. No wonder Mr. Negative had the confidence to challenge himself, Harry thought. However, these are not enough. Harry struck first, unleashing the destroyer gun in its authorized form, channeling energy from the muzzle and blasting it into the crowd. With a loud bang, several of the demon gang's henchmen were blown to pieces. But apart from those who were directly hit by the shell and killed, the others who were affected were only injured. Harry instantly realized that these henchmen of the demon gang were indeed stronger than ordinary people, but only slightly stronger, not extremely strong. It was solved quite easily. Harry kept firing, each shot taking down an enemy and wounding several others. When the demon gang's henchmen charged at him with enhanced weapons, Harry didn't confront them head-on. Using its own speed, it can easily evade enemy attacks without even needing to activate the thrusters on its back. After all, the speed of these demon gang henchmen was only slightly faster than that of an average human. Harry used the speed of the blazing locusts to deal with these demon gang minions, and even though they were enhanced by Mr. Negative energy, they were no match for Harry. A few minutes later, the group of demon gang henchmen suffered heavy casualties, with half of them killed by Harry. The difference between them and ordinary gangsters is that they are not afraid of death, and they will rush towards Harry one after another even if there are heavy casualties. It seems they've been controlled by Mr. Negative. Seeing that his men had suffered heavy casualties, Mr. Negative finally left the stage. Mr. Negative drew his longsword, enchanted it with negative energy, and then leaped toward Harry. Harry was slaughtering the henchmen of the demon gang when suddenly Zea's calculations detected danger behind him. Harry's body reacted automatically, the authorized destroyer in his hand switched to axe mode, and he turned around to swing the axe, colliding with Mr. Negative's longsword. Harry felt the power emanating from Mr. Negative, and the two were surprisingly evenly matched. Harry's Assault Flash Locust only has a punching power of 27.1 and an arm strength of 11.1, which is really not impressive in the Marvel Universe. Mr. Negative film has a negative energy boost and a force of over 20 tons. You're not particularly strong either. Mr. Negative sensed Harry's power and realized that the other's strength wasn't as great as he had imagined. Haha, so what now? Harry kicked Mr. Negative, and 67.1 tons of force exploded on him. Mr. Negative was kicked away and crashed heavily into the crowd of his demon gang. The immense power killed several of the demon gang's underlings. Mr. Negative was lying on the ground, his face covered in sweat, clutching his abdomen in pain. Even the negative energy within him became somewhat unstable. Bye-bye. Harry didn't waste any words, saying goodbye as he switched the authorized destroyer to gun mode, channeling the high leap locust key energy into it. Pull the trigger to the sound effect 01 authorize, which is followed by the sound effect 01 dust. The gun concentrates energy and fires a fluorescent yellow locust-shaped destructive cannon at the enemy. Harry unleashed his ultimate attack. The destructive cannon was fired at Mr. Negative, who was still lying on the ground in pain, unable to stand up. If this shot hits, Mr. Negative will surely die. Just then, a flash of dark energy appeared. The area in front of Mr. Negative film turned into something like a black hole. Harry's devastating attack, the destruction cannon, hit the black hole but didn't cause a ripple, it was swallowed up by the black hole. Who is it? Harry hadn't expected the other party to have a backup plan. Looking at the dark energy, could it be the superpowered girl Pity? Just as Harry was pondering whose ability this was, a black hole opened up in front of him, from which shot out a dozen daggers formed of white light. Harry connected with Zea and, using Zea's analytical abilities, immediately identified the optimal solution. Activate the shining attack system. A blue light shone from Harry's chest, from which 6 sparkling crystals flew out. They combined to form an umbrella-shaped shield in front of Harry. A dozen or so white beams of light formed daggers that struck the shield, but were all blocked by the shield formed by the shimmering crystal. So it's you guys. Harry immediately recognized who was attacking. The black hole formed by dark energy dissipated, and a black man in a black cloak and a blonde white woman in a white bodysuit appeared before Harry. Cloak and Dagger, Harry called out their names. Cloak and Dagger are 2 street heroes. The one codenamed Cloak is actually named Tyrone Johnson, a poor boy born in a black neighborhood in Boston who can control dark energy. Another character, codenamed Dagger, whose real name is Tandy Bowen, is a wealthy girl born in a rich neighborhood in Cleveland who can control light energy. The two are a very famous superhero duo. Chapter 46 Cloak and Dagger. Why would 2 street superheroes help the supervillain Mr. Negative? This brings us to Mr. Negative's capabilities. Mr. Negative's real name is Martin Lee. He was just an ordinary person who was knocked unconscious by a henchman of the Hammerhead Magic Gang. He was then taken to an underground cell where he served as a test subject for a complex drug developed by Dr. Simon Marshall. 2 other people were also undergoing drug trials there, a black man named Tyrone Johnson and a blonde white woman named Tandy Bowen. Of these 3, Tyrone Johnson, a black man, gained the ability to control dark energy and became the superhero Cloak. A blonde white woman named Tandy Bowen gained the ability to control light energy and became the superhero Dagger. Martin Lee's case was even more unique, light and darkness merged within him, forming negative energy. Because of this negative energy, an evil personality also emerged within him. This evil personality is now the dominant one in Mr. Negative, whose goal is to defeat Hammerhead's Magic Gang and Kingpin, unify the entire Hell's Kitchen, and become the king of New York's underground dark forces. So he used negative energy to sneak attack and control the Cloak and Dagger. Mr. Negative Energy has the ability to turn evil people into righteous people and righteous people into evil people. Although the Cloak and Dagger are superheroes, they are controlled by Mr. Negative. But Harry won't show them any mercy. After all, battles are a matter of life and death. He launched the first attack, controlling the shimmering crystal to attack the Cloak and Dagger. The shimmering crystal launched energy projectiles from a distance, heading straight for them. Seeing this, Tyrone activated dark energy teleportation for the 3rd time, teleporting him and the dagger behind Harry. They're going to fight in close combat. But Harry OS himself, wearing the Kamen Rider Assault Shining Hopper armor, is not afraid of close combat. Using Zea's computational abilities, Harry calculated that the enemy was behind him, turned around, and swung his axe. Tandy dodged the axe with his agile body, then thrust his dagger, made of white light, at Harry. She was much faster than Harry. Harry's computing power couldn't even react to this attack, since he had only initially connected to Zea and couldn't yet unleash its full computing potential. Tandy, wielding a dagger made of white light, struck Harry squarely in the chest. Ding! Harry was attacked in the chest by Tandy's dagger, but it did not cause much damage. If Harry's Kamen Rider Assault Shining Hopper form is calculated based on 100 HP, then Harry has essentially lost 2 HP. Although Dagger Tandy's attack power is not high, her ability is terrifying. If she makes a dagger out of white light and it touches a person's body, she can control the dagger to absorb the person's life energy. It causes the person being absorbed to instantly become weak, unconscious, and eventually die. Before being controlled by Mr. Negative, Dagger Tandy could only knock bad guys unconscious, he wouldn't actually kill them. But now that she is controlled by Mr. Negative, she has lost her own thoughts. Dagger Tandy uses her abilities to the fullest, and the dagger in her hand shines with an even brighter light. But she absorbed nothing after a second. It turns out that Harry OS was wearing Kamen Rider armor, which isolated the connection between his skin and the dagger. The dagger Tand absorbed the Kamen Rider armor made of a special alloy. Where would the life energy come from in an alloy? My turn. Seeing that Tandy's attack with daggers had failed, Harry lashed out with a whip kick to her head. If a kick of nearly 70 tons were to land, even Jesus couldn't stop her, I'm telling you. Unfortunately, Tyrone in the cloak was right next to him. When he saw Harry's attack, he used his body to forcefully block Harry's whip kick. Harry felt as if his leg had kicked into thin air, completely empty. The cloaked Tyrone's body was connected to a dark energy space, and he used his powers to send Harry's leg into it. If the connection to the dark energy space is shut off now, Harry will lose a leg forever. In the emergency, Harry's body was automatically controlled by Zea, and the thrusters on his back emitted dazzling electronic energy, putting Harry into a super-accelerated state. With a thrust, he flew out, dodging the Cloaked Talon's attack. Cloaked Tyrone began to pant heavily after using his abilities multiple times. The dark energy was extremely taxing on his stamina and required him to absorb life energy to sustain it. However, Tandy the dagger was beside him, and her abilities perfectly complemented those of Cloaked Talon, as she used her powers to replenish Cloaked Talon's life energy. Seeing that the enemy was replenishing their energy, Harry couldn't just stand by and watch. He used his power destroyer to switch to gun mode again, focusing the energy at the muzzle and firing it at Dagger Tandy and Cloaked Tyrone. Tandy the dagger and Tyrone the cloak were still unable to dodge when Mr. Negative rushed over, emitting a negative energy glow from his hand to block Harry's attack. "TCH, this is troublesome," Harry said regretfully. Although none of the three opponents were his match, their abilities were quite unique, making them a bit of a hassle to deal with. Mr. Negative also realized Harry Osborn's strength and knew that he was no match for him. Having abandoned his previous arrogance, he joined forces with Dagger Tandy and Cloaked Tyrone, and the three prepared to attack Harry Osborn simultaneously. "Kamen Rider! Mr. Osborn!" A young girl's voice came from the air. Gwen Venom jumped down from the sky, mimicking her boyfriend Peter Parker's web shooters, using Venom's abilities to launch black filaments that swung between the skyscrapers. The battle here has been going on for quite some time and is very noteworthy. Gwen noticed the anomaly from afar and quickly flew over. Upon arriving, he found his boss, Harry Osborn, transformed into a Kamen Rider and engaged in battle. "Wow, what's it like to go out dressed as a superhero and run into your boss?" Harry looked closer and saw, it was female Venom. "What's going on? Is there such a character in Marvel?" Harry hasn't read every comic book, so it's normal that he hasn't seen Gwen Venom before. "Thank goodness, he didn't recognize me," Gwen Venom said, noticing Harry's shocked expression. Then he remembered that he hadn't shown his face while possessed by Venom, and Harry Osborn definitely wouldn't recognize him now. Luckily, Gwen Stacy is one of the few people who haven't left the Osborn group yet. The kind-hearted woman always feels that taking that money is wrong. "Looks like I'm not too late." Daredevil arrived at the scene at this time, but he was slower than Gwen Venom and only just got there now. Daredevil Matt sensed the presence of everyone present. On one side is Kamen Rider Harry Osborn, and on the other side are Mr. Negative, Cloaked Tyrone, and Dagger Tandy. Chapter 47 The Great Battle Begins. Dagger and Cloak. Daredevil Matt also recognized the identities of these two street superheroes. Through his super senses, he could feel the light and dark energies within the Dagger and Cloak. After all, they are all street superheroes, and they have all had contact with each other, but for some reason, the righteous hero is mixed up with the villain. "They're being controlled by Mr. Negative," Harry explained, noticing Matt Daredevil's confusion. "Daredevil, Venom, I need your help," Harry said to the two. "Now that superheroes are coming to help, there's no need for me to fight three people at once." After hearing Harry's explanation, Daredevil Matt understood the situation and realized that helping Harry defeat Mr. Negative and save the superhero cape and dagger was crucial. Venom Gwen naturally agreed with her boss Harry Osborn's words. The strange black and white figure opposite her didn't look like a good person at all. Although Mr. Negative had just been thoroughly defeated by Harry Osborn, he was not one to be afraid. No matter how many enemies he faced, he was confident that he could turn the tide and win. "Take care of them," Mr. Negative ordered the Cloak and Dagger. Cloaked Tyrone made the first move, unleashing a dark energy field that enveloped Harry and his two companions. "If you get trapped inside, your life energy will be drained by the dark energy field. Careful." Matt Daredevil, with his incredibly strong senses, reacted instantly, using his weapon to wrap around a nearby lamppost and pull himself over, while simultaneously shouting a warning to his teammates on both sides. After hearing Daredevil Matt's warning, Venom Gwen made a super jump and moved away from the area. Harry wasn't going to stand there foolishly and take the attack. His back thrusters instantly spewed out a burst of electronic energy, and Harry entered a super accelerated state. The destroyer in his hand transformed into an axe and swung it at Mr. Negative. Upon seeing this, Mr. Negative unleashed countless amounts of negative energy from his body, forming a negative energy armor that blocked Harry's attack. "Harry Osborn, do you think you're the only one who can use armor?" Mr. Negative said fiercely. He stretched out his right hand, and negative energy formed a huge fist that he threw at Harry. Bang! The punch landed squarely on Harry's body. The immense force sent Harry staggering backward, the blow sending him flying 15 meters away. As Mr. Negative energy accumulated, his armor grew larger and larger until finally, a small giant, 8 meters tall, formed from negative energy, appeared there. The little giant's face was ferocious, like a demon, and Mr. Negative looked down at Harry from inside the little giant's chest. I am the King of New York, I am the demon. Mr. Negative shouted, spreading his arms wide. Venom Gwen, who was fighting with daggers and cloaks nearby, was stunned by what she saw. Gwen, who only wanted to be a superhero and fight criminals, never imagined that the world of superheroes would be so dangerous, full of supervillains and monsters. Being a superhero is really tough. Careful. Distracted, Venom Gwen didn't notice the attack launched by Dagger Tandy, a dagger made of white light flying towards her. Fortunately, Daredevil Matt arrived in time and used his short stick to knock the dagger away, saving Venom Gwen. Venom, don't get distracted during the fight, Matt the Daredevil instructed. Distraction during battle is a major taboo. He knew the abilities of Dagger Tandy and Cloak Talon, and if he were to be hit by them carelessly, it would be extremely troublesome. Okay, Daredevil, Venom Gwen said seriously, realizing she had made a mistake. Knowing she lacked combat experience, Gwen handed over control of her body to Venom. With her body controlled by Venom, her strength increased dramatically, and she and Daredevil Matt quickly overwhelmed Dagger Tandy and Cloak Tyrone. Meanwhile, on the other side of the battlefield, Harry didn't take Mr. Negative seriously. After all, his opponent was just a minor villain who, despite having a significant role, was only capable of ruling Hell's Kitchen. He was usually overshadowed by Kingpin Wilson Fisker. You villains are really good at bragging. King of New York? I didn't hear you say that when Kingpin was alive, Harry said sarcastically, then gathered the energy from the Assault Shining Locust cartridge into his right foot. He was about to unleash a powerful attack to deal with the enormous enemy. The sound effect Shining Storm Impact is activated. After Harry gathered maximum energy in his right foot, he took to the air, and the thrusters on his back activated, putting him into a super accelerated state. Harry was enveloped in an electronic glow and delivered a classic Knight's Flying Kick to Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative also controlled the little giant formed from negative energy to throw a full force punch at Harry Osborn. The enormous fist collided with Harry's flying kick. Rumble rumble. A tremendous sound rang out as Harry's Knight's kick pierced right through the little giant formed from Mr. Negative's negative energy. Harry had just regained his footing after the kick when a loud noise came from behind him. A flying kick containing over 100 tons of force came from behind, and the little giant exploded. After the explosion, the smoke cleared, and Mr. Negative rolled to the ground. At this point, he had exited the state of negative energy and his body had returned to normal. Mr. Negative managed to get up, he was now covered in wounds and bleeding profusely. Fortunately, his enormous body, formed from negative energy, blocked most of the attacks, otherwise, he would be dead by now. Who am I? How did I get here? Mr. Negative looked around at everything in confusion, as if he had lost his memory. Martin, Martin! Stop pretending! You won't live past today anyway. Harry didn't care whether Mr. Negative Martin had lost his memory or not, he wanted Mr. Negative to die. Can a criminal be forgiven if he loses his memory? Does the crime he committed simply disappear? No. I don't want to die, please spare me, Mr. Negative pleaded repeatedly. But Harry stopped arguing with him, rushed forward, picked up the authorization destroyer, and swung it at him with an axe. No. Matt the Daredevil saw this and, unwilling to see anyone die before his eyes, he abandoned the enemy in front of him and charged toward Harry. Venom Gwent was the same, kind-hearted and unwilling to see others die, she also ran towards Harry, trying to stop him. Unfortunately, they were all some distance apart, and even though they acted quickly, there wasn't enough time. Just as Harry was about to chop off Mr. Negative's head with his axe, a red and blue figure descended from the sky, grabbing the axe handle and blocking the blow. New York's friendly neighborhood, Spider-Man is here. Hey Harry! You're still as menacing as ever after just a few days, Peter Parker joked. Haven't seen you for a few days, and you're still meddling in other people's business. Harry said in a deep voice, putting away the authorization destroyer. The kind-hearted Spider-Man Peter is friendly to everyone, except for Harry Osborn, whom he doesn't fully care about. Peter. Venom Gwen flew over at that moment. Daredevil Matt followed closely behind. That voice. Spider-Man Peter Parker turned his head and looked at the sexy figure in the familiar voice. A bold idea popped into his mind. Gwen. Spider-Man Peter looked at Gwen in disbelief. Venom Gwen's head was controlled to reveal his true appearance. How did you become like this? That's a long story. Just as the two were about to embrace and whisper sweet nothings, Mr. Negative Film, standing behind them, seized the opportunity to unleash a strange negative energy that spread outwards towards everyone. Spider-Man Peter Parker, Venom Gwen, Daredevil Matt all fell victim to the virus. Only Harry managed to dodge the attack by automatically controlling the Kamen Rider armor using the Zea passive alert device. Ha 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 ha. Mr. Negative laughed maniacally as he transformed from an ordinary person back into a form covered in negative energy. Despite his severe injuries, he was still able to move around with the help of negative energy that enhanced his body. Most importantly, Mr. Negative used his abilities to ambush the superheroes. They turned 3 righteous superheroes into 3 evil supervillains. Spider-Man Peter Parker, Venom Gwen, and Daredevil Matt all have negative energy shining in their eyes, indicating they have lost control of themselves. Now they only have one enemy in front of them, Harry Osborn. At that moment, the cloak and dagger arrived. 5 superheroes and the supervillain Mr. Negative surrounded Harry. Chapter 48: The Defeat Dagger and the Cloak. Harry Osborn, I admit you're amazing. But the biggest flaw of you superheroes is that you are too soft-hearted. Now, will you fight your friends? Mr. Negative and 5 superheroes surrounded Harry. Enough with the nonsense. Harry looked at the superheroes around him, he hated them. If they hadn't stopped him, Harry would have chopped Mr. Negative's head off long ago. Not only did they not kill the supervillain, but they also stopped others from taking action, and afterwards they even showed affection on the battlefield. Weren't they afraid of exposing their true identities to the villain? These young superheroes' ideas are too immature. Even Captain America wouldn't hold back in battle, he killed more Nazis than anyone else back in the day. You think you've already won? Harry pulled out the authorized destroyer and the briefcase sword with his right hand. Then a blue light shone from his chest, and the 6 shining crystals were summoned back. Next, Harry will take on 6 opponents single-handedly, and he'll be unstoppable, surpassing them all. Humph! Attack! Mr. Negative gave the order to attack. Spider-Man Peter Parker and Venom Gwen, who are incredibly fast, were the first to rush over. Harry ignored the 2, activated his super speed, dodged the couple's attack with a quick movement, then used his weapon to block Tandy's attack with daggers, and dashed towards Daredevil Matt. We'll take down the weakest one first. Daredevil Matt is the weakest and easiest to deal with. The 2 weapons in Harry's hands clashed violently, creating a tremendous noise. Daredevil Matt has super hearing, but that's also his weakness, the enormous noise sounds like a bomb exploding in his ears. This caused Daredevil Matt to temporarily lose his ability to perceive his surroundings. Harry, of course, didn't let the opportunity pass him by. He held back and kicked Daredevil Matt in the stomach. The immense force sent Daredevil Matt flying, crashing into a dumpster. It really wasn't intentional. Harry didn't control the direction at all, and unexpectedly, he kicked him straight into the trash. It's fortunate that it happened, otherwise that kick might have killed Daredevil Matt. Harry didn't have time to think about anything else. As he kicked Daredevil Matt away, the dark energy of Cloak Tyrone had already spread over, forming a black hole that was about to devour Harry. Harry had no choice but to enter super speed mode again and jump to dodge the attack. The moment he jumped, Spider-Man Peter Parker and Venom Gwen also pounced down from the sky. Harry was not in a hurry but rather happy, as this was the perfect opportunity to fight Spider-Man, which suited him just fine. Harry first used the sparkling crystal to blast Venom Gwen away. Then he engaged in close combat with Spider-Man Peter Parker, slashing at Peter's arm with an axe. If this attack lands, Harry will be able to directly obtain Spider-Man Peter's blood. However, being Spider-Man Peter Parker, with his spider sense, he quickly adjusted his body in mid-air, flipped over, and kicked Harry's authorization destroyer away. But Harry had another weapon in his hand, the briefcase sword in his left hand, which also went into action, slashing at Spider-Man Peter. Just as he was about to succeed, a white light flashed, and Tandy the dagger ran over and threw the dagger, made of white light, at Harry. Although this attack did not harm Harry, it disrupted his rhythm of attack. Seeing this, Harry realized that he had to kill the nurse archer first, otherwise the cloak Tyrion would keep teleporting back and forth, and the dagger Tandy could restore Tyrion's stamina and keep firing daggers to interfere with his attacks, which was very annoying. Thinking of this, Harry blasted Spider-Man Peter away from him with a single shot. Then, he manipulated 6 sparkling crystals, using 3 to entangle Spider-Man Peter Parker and the other 3 to deal with Venom Gwen, who had come running over again. Zea's computational abilities manipulated the shining crystal, allowing Harry to focus on the dagger and cloak first. Mr. Negative, who was being protected by the remaining henchmen of the demon gang, was stunned. He hadn't expected Harry to be so brave, eliminating Daredevil Matt right away and now gaining the upper hand in his fight against 4 superheroes. Could he really defeat such a powerful enemy? Mr. Negative was now considering giving up. But he was also afraid that if he got too far away, the controlled superheroes would return to normal. If Harry comes after him again, he will surely die. Now all we can do is pray that the 4 superheroes can defeat Harry Osborn, the Kamen Rider. The main problem is that he doesn't dare to go forward and participate in the battle now. Although he has recovered some of his fighting ability after being injured, he is far from what he used to be. If he were to fight head-on, Harry Osborn could probably kill him with a single axe. On this battlefield, Harry's authorized destroyer switched to gun mode, focusing energy at the muzzle and firing shot after shot at Tandy the dagger. Having fought for so long, he had long since mastered the abilities of the dagger and the cloak. When Dagger Tandy is attacked, Cloak Talon will definitely use dark energy to defend her. However, the Cloak Talon's abilities cannot be maintained for long periods of time, and he needs to replenish his life energy with the Dagger Tandy. If we can stall until Cloak Talon runs out of energy, we can take care of both of them. To speed up the attack, Harry put the briefcase sword in his left hand into his interdimensional pocket and took out the briefcase gun. Both ranged weapons attacked simultaneously, Dagger Tandy and Cloak Talon. The pace of the attack quickened, forcing the two players into a retreat. Before long, the Cloak Talon's energy was exhausted, and he could no longer use his dark energy teleportation ability. Tandy the dagger had no choice but to restore his life energy. You've run out of energy, so die. Harry used the High Leap Locust program to sublimate the key's energy and fill the authorized destroyer gun. Pull the trigger to the sound effect 01 authorize, followed by the sound effect 01 dust. The gun's muzzle converges energy, firing fluorescent yellow locust-shaped destructive cannons at Dagger Tandy and Cloak Talon. At this point, the two were unable to escape, and a massive energy explosion erupted between them. When the smoke cleared, Cloak Talon and Dagger Tandy stood there, trembling. Although neither of them was injured, their energy had been temporarily depleted. In the instant he was attacked, Tandy's hands gathered white light, forming a shield that blocked the blow. But she exhausted her own energy. After losing their energy, the two surprisingly broke free from Mr. Negative's control. Wait a minute, let's recover, Tandy the dagger was about to explain to Harry, but Harry wouldn't listen. First, he took out the briefcase sword from his dimensional pocket, and then hurled it at Cloak Talon, piercing him directly through the abdomen. Then he rushed over and used the authorized destroyer's axe to slash at Dagger Tandy's head. But at that moment, a short stick flew over, deflecting Harry's attack. Chi! The slash, after being deflected, only severed Tandy's arm. Blood flowed freely, limbs flew off, and Tandy, the dagger-wielding man, knelt on the ground in agony. Mr. Osborn, they've regained their senses. There's no need to kill them anymore. Daredevil Matt limped over. He regained his senses despite his serious injuries and broke free from Mr. Negative's control. Please, Mr. Osborn. Daredevil Matt pleaded sincerely with Harry, knowing he couldn't stop Harry Osborn. But before being controlled, Cloak Talon and Dagger Tandy were two very righteous superheroes, and he simply couldn't bear to watch them lose their lives. Fine, I'll give you face this time. But if there's a next time, I won't hold back. Harry said in a deep voice. After saying that, he stopped paying attention to the three superheroes, since none of them were important and they were dispensable. He wasn't a person who enjoyed killing, he killed only because it was useful to him, not for pleasure. There's something more important to do now, get Peter Parker's blood. Chapter 49 Obtaining Blood. Peter Parker. Harry approached Spider-Man Peter and Venom Gwen. He summoned back the 6 shimmering crystals, which swirled around him as Harry floated in the air, holding the authorized destroyer. The controlled Spider-Man Peter and Venom Gwen charge at Harry. Harry didn't waste any words and used the same old trick, he blasted Venom Gwen away with a single shot. Then he swung an axe at Spider-Man Peter, but Peter nimbly dodged it. Then Spider-Man Peter charged and punched Harry in the face, but it was completely blocked by the 3 shining crystals. Harry didn't hold back when Spider-Man Peter attacked, kicking Peter in the waist. Unfortunately, Peter Parker's spider sense activated, and he instantly jumped up and landed behind Harry. He leaped forward and kicked Harry in the back. However, Harry was prepared, and the 3 shining crystals fired energy projectiles in succession, blasting Spider-Man Peter away. To be honest, Spider-Man is indeed tough and has excellent defense. Despite being hit by so many explosions, only his clothes were slightly torn, and his body was not seriously injured. This universe is way too biased towards Spider-Man, Harry said to Peter with a sigh. Just then, Venom Gwen, who had been blown away earlier, rushed over and joined the battle. Venom Gwen's current strength is also around 25 tons, but she's much easier to deal with than Spider-Man Peter Parker. Harry put away the authorized destroyer and unleashed a barrage of punches that left Venom Gwen unable to retaliate. Just as Harry was about to seize an opportunity to kick Venom Gwen unconscious, Spider-Man Peter flew over. The 2 controlled superheroes joined the battle. These 2 are far superior in combat ability to the cloak and dagger combination. Harry couldn't subdue the 2 of them in a short time. While the 3 were locked in fierce combat, Mr. Negative Film crept over furtively. He knew that if he didn't find a way now, once Harry Osborn dealt with the 2 men, it would be his turn to be dealt with. Therefore, he must take action now. He didn't make a move when it was 5 against 1 because his body hadn't recovered yet. Now that Mr. Negative has rested, his injuries and strength have recovered, so he should be able to fight for the time being. He finally found his chance and made his move. Mr. Negative Energy leaped high into the air and drew his sword to stab Harry. At this moment, Harry was entangled by Venom Gwen, and Spider-Man Peter Parker timely fired a web to trap Harry. And this was the opportunity that Mr. Negative was looking for. His sword, coated in negative energy, was aimed at Harry's head. If this sword strikes, it might actually injure Harry. But Harry was prepared, the artificial intelligence Zea had already scanned his movements. Harry's trapping by Spider-Man Peter was intentional, designed to lure Peter into attacking. Harry had already come up with this plan the moment Mr. Negative sneaked over. Harry's back thrusters spewed out a large amount of electronic flashing energy, and he entered a super accelerated state. Harry dodged Mr. Negative's attack with a quick movement. Then, used 6 sparkling crystals to cut the spider silk. With his hands free, Harry once again caught up with Mr. Negative at super speed. He took out the authorized destroyer axe in his right hand and swung the axe at Mr. Negative's head. Mr. Negative had nowhere to hide and was beheaded by Harry. Mr. Negative, who had caused Harry so much trouble, met his end. What's going on? Spider-Man Peter and Venom Gwen, who had been under control, also returned to normal. But Harry wasn't going to let them go. He took advantage of their moment of being controlled to recall what had happened. Harry entered super speed mode again, picked up the authorized destroyer axe, and swung it at Venom Gwent. Venom Gwent didn't have spider sense, so her dodge wasn't as quick. She actually froze on the spot. In other words, the venomous creature that possessed her reacted and transformed into a shield to block Gwen's way. Spider-Man Peter doesn't know if Gwen can withstand the attack, he only knows that he can't let Harry hurt Gwen. No. Harry. Spider-Man Peter Parker entered a state of spiritual awareness, his physical abilities increased several times over, and his speed suddenly increased. Suddenly, it appeared in front of Harry, blocking his attack and kicking Harry's authorization destroyer away. Harry had anticipated this, and the 6 sparkling crystals behind him flew forward in advance to attack Venom Gwen. Spider-Man Peter Parker had no choice but to turn around and block the 6 glittering crystals. Chi. While Spider-Man Peter turned around, Harry pulled out his briefcase sword and slashed Peter in the back. Blood splattered everywhere. Harry was prepared. He took out a test tube from his interdimensional pocket, entered a super accelerated state, and preemptively recovered a portion of Spider-Man Peter's blood. Although most of it spilled on the ground, Harry managed to collect a small portion, about half a tube. These are enough. Peter. Venom Gwen finally reacted and stood in front of Peter. He assumed a fighting stance, keeping a watchful eye on Harry. Don't look at me. I thought you two were still under control, Harry said nonchalantly, shrugging. Who told you two to be controlled? You, Venom Gwen was speechless. She and Peter were indeed embarrassed, having been controlled while fighting the villain. Harry, I've investigated. The spider serum is still unstable. You can't inject it with just my blood, it's too dangerous. Although Peter was slashed, his healing ability was quite good, and he was fine at the moment. He knew why Harry did it, but he simply couldn't give Harry his blood. The example of Dr. Connors is right before our eyes. The serum side effects of such genetically modified animals are too great, requiring extensive research and experimentation. He had been preparing for this for the past few days. He didn't want to watch Harry turn into a monster. He believed that there would be other solutions to Harry's illness in the future, and that it wouldn't be necessary to take such a risk. Haha. Peter. Do you think superheroes are stupid? Who said your blood can only be reversed into serum and injected? You overestimate yourself. Harry laughed dismissively. The genetically modified spider originally belonged to the Osborn group, which means it belongs to me. After saying that, Harry turned and left without waiting for Peter's reaction. Now that he has what he wanted, he no longer has time to play superhero games with this group of street trolls. Chapter 50 Blood Spider. Harry returned to the villa and went to the basement. Extract genetic information. Harry placed the blood into a special extraction device. The machine extracts and analyzes everything in Spider-Man Peter Parker's blood. The extraction was completed quickly, not long afterward. Separate Peter Parker's DNA, Harry ordered again. The genetically modified spider that bit Spider-Man was genetically locked by Peter Parker's parents, meaning only members of the Parker family can use it. So Harry separated Peter Parker's DNA, and after the separation was complete, he simply added his own blood. Ha quickly completed these operations using the artificial intelligence Zea. He received a bottle of genetically modified spider serum that was his own. But Harry didn't intend to inject it directly. After all, even so, injection experiments were risky, and not everyone was as lucky as Peter Parker to become Spider-Man. Harry took out a key, the Spider Program Ascension Key. This one was made using the residual venom of a genetically modified spider. He will use this key together with the genetically modified spider serum to synthesize a new sublimation key. Harry placed both inside the electronic 3D automatic printing chamber. Controlled jointly by Zea and Ark. Data fusion is performed. Harry lay on the sofa, playing on his tablet while waiting. The machine generates the sublimation key automatically, so he doesn't have to stand around waiting like an idiot. Mr. Osborn, your milk tea is here. Izzy walked in carrying the milk tea she had made herself. Harry took it, blew on it to cool it down, and took a small sip. You have to admit, it was quite delicious. Harry put the milk tea aside, and Izzy obediently came over and massaged Harry's shoulders. So good after a whole night of fighting, it's so nice to have a girl give me a massage when I get home. Now, almost all the employees of the Osborn Group are Humagears, except for Gwen Stacy, who hasn't left yet, but I believe she will soon after this incident. Since there wasn't anything important going on at the company, Harry created 2 new secretary-type Humagears to work for him. And since Izzy doesn't need to work, it's fine for her to stay by his side. Completed. The sublimation key was quickly completed. Harry stood up, and Izzy obediently took the ascension key from him. Harry looked at the blood-red ascension key with the spider pattern and felt a peculiar sensation. It was as if this key was made just for him. After all, the Gaoyu Locust program sublimation key was not the most suitable for him. This key was custom-made for him. Scarlet Spider. Harry pressed the ascension key, and a deep English voice came from the key. Harry placed the prototype ascension key into the 01 driver, which then activated the driver to transform. A projection appeared from the transparent, blood-red, spiked spider belt. Harry began to don a black power combat suit, and then a blood-red spider armor-like suit covered his body. Thus, the new Kamen Rider, dressed in a black power combat suit and covered in blood-red armor, has completed his transformation. Is this what it feels like to have your body enhanced? Harry felt his body being enhanced and modified by the Scarlet Spider prototype ascension key. This is one of the functions of this sublimation key, it can enhance and modify the user's abilities. This process should have been very painful, but the powered combat suit is equipped with a medical protection system that can provide partial anesthesia and treatment if the wearer experiences pain. The transformation lasted for 5 hours before Harry finally broke free, having successfully undergone the modification and enhancement. Harry's body went from being thin and weak to strong, just like Captain America. His body became strong and handsome. Izzy came over and handed her a large glass of water and a towel. The recent intensification caused him to sweat a lot and lose a lot of water. Harry took the glass of water and drank it down in large gulps. Then he picked up a towel and wiped the sweat off his body. Zea, check physical fitness, Harry commanded the Zea in his mind. Zea quickly scanned Harry's body. Harry quickly obtained the data. 5 tons of strength and 20 meters per second. These are the theoretical qualities. But that's about the right number. Harry doesn't have any subjective data, after all, he's not Spider-Man Peter Parker. This enhancement is very close to Captain America's base stats, though it's just the minimum stats Steve Rogers performs at. When he was in his idealistic phase, Captain America's strength was terrifying, he could even go toe-to-toe with the Cosmic Overlord. Harry could only describe it as terrifying. Very good, we can move on to the next step. Harry was very satisfied with his enhanced power. After all, he doesn't fight with his bare hands, in a real fight, he'd have to rely on the Kamen Rider armor, and better physical attributes would allow him to unleash more of his power. Moreover, he has finally been cured of his family's hereditary disease, and he is now very satisfied. However, it could be even more perfect. Begin creating the ascension key for the shining Scarlet Spider, Harry then gave the order. Received. Begin production. The 3D electronic automated printing room began producing the shining prototype ascension key after receiving Harry's order. Harry is going to give the Scarlet Spider ascension key a dazzling upgrade. The already powerful key will become even more powerful with further upgrades. Furthermore, it will further enhance his body. In the Marvel Universe, it's not just about wearing armor, you also need to strengthen yourself. Otherwise, relying solely on the Kamen Rider armor will prevent us from handling many of the problems we encounter in the future. We still need to strengthen ourselves, otherwise we won't be able to use many treasures in the universe. Iron Man, for example, couldn't use any of the 6 Infinity Stones he obtained, and in the end, he snapped his fingers and perished along with Thanos' army. Inside a secret experimental base on the outskirts of New York, the gentleman Gustav stands with Dr. Ratman, while the superpowered girl Pitty stands behind them. Doctor, can genetically modified laboratory animals be bred again? Gustav asked softly. Mr. Phils, it's very difficult. All the genetically modified experimental animals have died, 5 out of 6 vials of the injection have already been administered, and the remaining one has been used up due to a failed experiment without a suitable recipient. Unless I have another year to start breeding again, it will be very difficult, Dr. Ratman explained to Gustav Phils. Upon hearing this, Gustav suddenly grabbed the Ratman doctor by the neck. He was incredibly strong, even the Ratman doctor and the person who injected the genetically modified organism could not break free from Gustav's grasp. He's also a superhuman. And his strength is at least 30 tons. Dr. Ratman's face turned red from being choked, and he couldn't breathe. The underground rats surged and pounced on Gustav, but Pity teleported them outside using dark energy. I have drive. Ratman had no choice but to beg for mercy, but he was being choked so tightly by Gustav that he couldn't speak at all. Gustav realized what he was trying to say and released his grip. He had genuinely intended to kill Dr. Ratman. Because he had lost his usefulness, in Gustav's eyes, useless was equivalent to dregs. Gustav doesn't leave any residue behind, he simply cleans it up. Now he wants to hear what Dr. Ratman has to say before deciding whether to give him a chance. My blood. I am also a genetically modified experimental human, my blood can be used for experiments, the Ratman doctor shouted, panting heavily. Chapter 51 Second Enhancement. Your blood. Gustav understood what the Ratman doctor meant. Although the Ratman doctor was not strong, his blood could indeed be used to mass-produce enhanced soldiers. What he has no shortage of his people. While Gustav and the Ratman were conducting experiments, SHIELD satellites detected this location. Sir, we've located the Ratman. A soldier handed a tablet to Agent 7 Clint Barton. A location is flashing above, it's in the outskirts of New York. Under 24/7 surveillance by SHIELD satellites, Dr. Ratman was finally able to detect his whereabouts when he summoned the rats. If the Ratman is here, then Gustav and the superpowered girl Pity are also here. Clint picked up his phone and called Natasha, the Black Widow. Nick Fury of SHIELD ordered him to find the whereabouts of 3 villains, and now the mission is complete. Natasha, the target has been located. Clinton said. Received, I will contact Harry Osborn, Natasha replied. Clinton called her because Black Widow is now exclusively a member of the Thunder's Special Forces. This is the message Harry Osborn needs, so Natasha needs to report it. Hey, aren't you going to treat me to drinks after get off work tonight? Clinton and Natasha were old acquaintances and often went out for drinks together. Drinking is fine, but why is it my turn to treat again? I remember you lost the wrestling match last time, Natasha said, puzzled. Well, we've already run out of money this month making high-tech arrows. Didn't you join the Thunder Commandos and get 2 salaries? Clinton said helplessly. Black Widow Natasha has joined the Thunder Force, and now both SHIELD and the Thunder Force are paying salaries. Most importantly, Harry was supposed to be paying the Thunderbolt's salaries, but he forgot about it, and Nick Fury was too embarrassed to ask him for it, so he had to reluctantly build one less secret base to pay Harry's salaries instead. Alright. But I need to call Harry Osborn first to see if we need to deploy the Thunder Force to deal with Gustav and his men. After saying that, Natasha called Harry Osborn. Hello. Harry had just completed his second enhancement, upgrading the key to the Scarlet Spider Shining Prototype Ascendant Key and then further enhancing it with the Assault Grip. Mr. Osborn, the location of the rat has been found. Natasha sounded very respectful on the phone, after all, it was related to a mission, and she was very professional when carrying out missions. Alright. Get the Quinjet ready to pick me up, Harry ordered. Do we need to deploy the Thunder Force? Natasha asked. No need, you can come alone, Harry said. The current Thunder Special Forces are somewhat outdated, with the significant buffs, he no longer needs them for the time being. However, the Quincy is more convenient for maneuvering. Although he can fly now, he is far inferior to the Quincy in terms of speed and comfort. Not to mention, the Quinjet also has optical camouflage capabilities, preventing the superpowered girl Pity from noticing something amiss and escaping. Okay, sir. Natasha hung up the phone, sent a text message to Hawkeye, and then prepared to take off in her Quinjet. Looks like I won't be able to drink tonight. At Osborn House, Harry practiced boxing to get used to his new body. His physique is incredibly strong, statistically, he's already on par with Spider-Man. With a force of 25 tons, it can anticipate danger with its spider sense. Aside from not being able to climb walls, he's practically another Spider-Man. This is before he transforms into a Kamen Rider, his physical body alone is already incredibly powerful. Harry took out the new belt that had been made to match the new Ascendant Key. Similar to the 01 driver, but in blood red. This new driver and new belt can be said to have made Harry a new Kamen Rider. From that day on, he was no longer Kamen Rider 01. Harry gave this new armor a new name, Kamen Rider 04. The meaning is that of a knight who brings death, implying that this Kamen Rider series is different from the original righteous Kamen Riders. In the infinitely powerful Marvel Universe, any means are acceptable. The Quinjet was very fast, and Harry didn't have to wait long before Natasha landed at the Osborn Villa airfield. After receiving the message, Harry changed into a more suitable outfit and left. Izzy obediently followed behind Harry as he left. Bye-bye, Izzy, Harry said to Izzy as he boarded the Quinjet. Have a safe journey, Mr. Osborne, Izzy said, bowing to Harry as he departed. After the plane started, Natasha looked Harry up and down as if she had discovered a new continent. What are you looking at? Haven't you ever seen a handsome guy before? So you like this type of secretary, hey? Natasha teased Harry. And isn't that an AI robot? Is it some kind of robot play? Mind your own business. Harry gave her a look that said, what nonsense are you talking about, and then ignored the woman who had 800 tricks up her sleeve. When Natasha saw that Harry was no longer paying attention to her, she stopped talking. But she just realized that Harry had really become more handsome, he had grown from 1.8 meters to 1.9 meters tall. His body went from being thin to becoming very strong. I felt like I was seeing another Captain America, Steve Rogers, in terms of physical fitness. Could it be genetic enhancement? Natasha wondered to herself. Since the success of the Super Soldier program, there has never been a perfect recreation of it. But in today's view, Harry Osborn has likely reproduced this technique. Harry has no idea what Natasha is thinking, but even if he did, he wouldn't care. Since the enhanced body can't be hidden anyway, it's better to openly display the strength. He is now powerful enough that he has nothing to fear from organizations like SHIELD and the military. Now he is going to take down the enemy who has been causing him trouble all along. The presence of these enemies allowed him to quickly unlock many technologies of Zea and Ark. It would have been extremely difficult for him to unlock Kamen Rider Assault Shining Hopper so quickly on his own. He's here today to thank his enemy, to give them the greatest thanks by dating the goddess of death. Chapter 52 The Great Philanthropist Harry. Open the door, let's bring warmth. After arriving outside the Gustav base, Harry realized that if he charged straight in, the enemy would definitely escape. The dark energy teleportation ability of the superpowered girl Pity is really annoying. So it's better to just go in openly and honestly. Harry Osborn, what are you doing here? Gustav's voice came from the doorbell. Hey, Gustav, is that your name? Harry looked at Natasha. He didn't know the enemy's identity yet, Natasha had just introduced him to him. I've forgotten his specific identity. I forgot the beginning, I forgot the middle, and I forgot the end. Overall, he's just a villain who's bored and likes to cause trouble. There are too many people like that in Marvel, they're all just idle. After Natasha nodded, Harry continued. Listen, Gustav, I don't think we have any deep-seated hatred for each other, do you? I'm not some superhero, so I don't think we need to fight each other. You mean, Gustav said after a moment of silence. We need to talk. Harry said righteously. Upon hearing Harry's words, Gustav felt a surge of power within him. He instinctively turned on the power and said, okay, let's talk. Impressive, right? Harry said to Natasha. Natasha nodded helplessly. Then Harry led Natasha through the door, and they didn't encounter any obstacles along the way. Indeed, the martial arts world doesn't need fighting and killing. Harry went straight into the boss's room and successfully met with the mini-boss, Gustav. Harry Osborn, tell me what you want to talk about. Gustav sat in the back, with the superpowered girl Pity watching him warily in front of him. 10 eerie rat-like monsters lay prostrate on the ground, ready to pounce on Harry at any moment. Don't be so tense. I'm here to negotiate, Gustav. Harry spread his arms to indicate that he was unarmed and posed no threat. Then he took out the 01 driver from his extra-dimensional pocket. This is what I want to talk to you about. The Kamen Rider driver, Harry said, holding up the driver. You mean? Gustav's eyes widened when he saw the driver. He has always craved power and wanted to obtain a stable and reliable source of great strength. Harry's Kamen Rider driver is one of the things he wants to obtain, the other being the Spider-Man serum. After all, Spider-Man Peter is very stable through enhancement, making it a perfect level serum enhancement. I want to make a deal with you. You know I have collaborations with the military and SHIELD. This top agent, Natasha, is the Kamen Rider I'm working with on behalf of S.H.I.E.L.D, Harry said very sincerely. What do you want? Gustav was very tempted, and what the other party said made sense. Harry had never been opposed to cooperating with other forces, from the past to the present. Including this Kamen Rider technology, he even heard that the military was starting to select suitable candidates for the transformation. Money, of course it's money. Only money is real. The military gave me $5 billion to make a deal, and I think we can cooperate. Harry was telling the truth. The deal with the military was even public knowledge and had been reported in the news. Humagers and Kamen Riders are publicly known. Money is no problem. Gustav nodded, money was the last thing he needed. I can give you 3 times what the military offers, $15 billion. This $15 billion is not just for buying Kamen Rider technology, but more of my personal compensation to you. I'm very sorry, Mr. Osborn. I deeply regret my past behavior, Gustav apologized to Harry. The past is the past. Great people don't concern themselves with trifles. Besides, I'm no devil. I'm the kindest person I can be, Harry laughed, tossing over the 01 driver and the Shining Locust Ascension Key. After Gustav received the 01 driver and the Shining Locust Ascension Key, he finally believed what Harry had just said. He sensed the immense energy within the Ascension Key, it was real. Harry then asked Natasha to go and discuss the collaboration with Gustav. Natasha then immediately called a Swiss bank to transfer funds to Harry. Such large transfers are usually very troublesome, but Harry and Gustav are not ordinary people. The two of them went through the back door and completed the transfer remotely via video call. After the transaction was completed, Harry walked over and reached out to shake hands with Gustav. Gustav was still somewhat wary and did not shake hands, instead, Pity, a girl with superpowers, shook hands on his behalf. Haha, it's okay, I understand. Harry smiled and shook hands with Pity. But the moment they shook hands, Harry's expression changed instantly, his smile vanished, replaced by an icy coldness. You. The superpowered girl Pity was also taken aback. Sensing something was wrong, she searched with dark energy and tried to teleport away. But now that Harry had gotten close, he couldn't let her go. His enhanced body was no longer the same as before. He grabbed Pity's hand and pulled her out of the dark energy portal with a sudden burst of strength. Then he punched the superpowered girl Pity in the neck with his left hand. While Pity, the superpowered girl, possesses impressive physical abilities, this is only in comparison to ordinary people. Compared to a monster like Harry, whose strength is 25 tons, she's like an infant, utterly powerless to resist. Harry broke Pity's cervical vertebrae with a single, full-force punch. But he wasn't finished yet, he had to finish off this kind of superpowered individual. Harry delivered another powerful right roundhouse kick, striking Pity in the head and sending her flying, crashing heavily against the steel wall of the base. Pity, the superpowered girl, was pinned to the steel wall by Harry's heavy blow and died instantly. The superpowered girl Pity can't rise again. What are you looking at? After a smooth combo that instantly defeated Pity, Gustav and Natasha stared at Harry in shock. Even Black Widow Natasha didn't expect Harry to suddenly attack, and so ruthlessly, beating Pity to death without even transforming into Kamen Rider. Didn't you just say you have the kindest heart? Natasha retorted. That's right, I'm a very kind person and I can't bear to see you suffer like this, so I've come to send you on your way. Harry walked towards Gustav. Harry Osborn. You wretched human. Gustav roared. How dare you break your promise and break your word? Don't forget that I have your Kamen Rider driver. Gustav shouted, holding Harry's belt driver. Haha, who told you there's only one belt? Harry took out the blood red 04 driver and put it on. Then he took out the blood red assault shining crimson prototype ascension key. The transformation was activated. Harry's body began to be fitted with a black combat power suit, which was made using Zea technology, special fibers and a new special alloy, and incorporated vibranium provided by the Punisher. The chest, arms and legs were covered in crimson spider bio-armor, a mixture of blood red and blue. The armor is made using technology provided by Ark, and is constructed from special alloys and adamantium alloys derived from the hammerhead. It also has a flash attack system installed in the middle of its chest. Kamen Rider 04 is now available. Punching power, 100 tons. Kicking force, 180 tons. Speed, 1.5 seconds/100 meters. Chapter 53 Killing the Gentleman. After the transformation ended, Harry felt an unprecedented power. The overall data is much higher than before. Go. Go now. Gustav said angrily. He hadn't expected Harry to be so untrustworthy and uncivilized. He's nothing like his father, Norman Osborn. At Gustav's command, the rat-like monsters lying on the ground pounced on Harry. These monsters were created by injecting Dr. Ratman's blood, the reverse serum, into the bodies of Gustav's loyal guards. Each one has the strength of 10 tons, which is quite terrifying. But compared to Harry, who had been enhanced to 100 tons of strength, these monsters were like babies. Harry quickly closed in on Gustav, throwing a punch or a kick with each step. These Ratman monsters were no match for Harry, he couldn't even stop them. In just 10 seconds, Harry had killed all the Ratman monsters and arrived at Gustav's side. Gustav looked at the ferocious Harry and, for the first time, felt a sense of fear. Faced with absolute power, the supervillain who had wreaked havoc for nearly a century is now just like an ordinary person. Unable to resist, just like the civilians slaughtered by Gustav. Would a high-ranking executioner perform better than an ordinary person if he encountered someone stronger than him? His mind, his calculations, his schemes, they only exist when his power surpasses that of others. Gustav opened his mouth as if to say something. But Harry didn't give him a chance at all. Why give the enemy a chance to speak? The assault shining scarlet key energy from Harry's belt driver emanated and concentrated entirely in his legs. Then he kicked out, straight at Gustav's head. I only aim for the head. That's Harry's fighting style. When you can kill someone with one blow, aim for their head to prevent them from retaliating. With a kicking force of 180 tons, plus the injection of energy, the kicking force reaches at least 230 tons. That kick blew Gustav's head off. Bone fragments, blood splattered everywhere. So your blood is red, just like everyone else's, Harry murmured. Harry glanced at the other party, confirmed that they did not have the ability to heal faster than normal, and then retrieved the 01 driver and the ascension key before turning to leave. Before leaving, he tossed Natasha a yellow sublimation key. What is this? Natasha looked at the key in her hand with a puzzled expression. The Thunder Hornet prototype ascension key is a perfect key for you, Harry said. Go and investigate the entire secret base. Eliminate everyone, leave no survivors, Harry ordered Natasha. Having killed Gustav and the superpowered girl Pity, Harry has accomplished his objective. Let his men handle the cleanup. Yes, Mr. Osborn. Natasha, who usually liked to joke with Harry, was very respectful when Harry gave her a serious order. Natasha spun the Thunder Hornet key and inserted it into the firing driver at her waist. Transform. As Natasha shouted, music emanated from the shooting driver. A yellow bullet was fired from the firing driver, circled Natasha's body once, and then struck her. Shot rise. Lightning Hornet. Piercing needle with incredible force. Accompanied by an English voice, Natasha completed her transformation. He was dressed entirely in a white combat suit, with a yellow Thunder Hornet armor on his upper body. Kamen Rider Valkyrie, Thunder Hornet makes its debut. It can actually fly. Natasha manipulated the yellow armor on her shoulders, which popped out transparent wings, and she took flight. After watching Natasha's transformation, Harry went straight out and boarded the Quinjet. Then I started thinking about the next steps. The metal cluster spider can be added to the plan list. After experiencing numerous battles, Harry became a sensation again after uploading a montage video online. It has both a good reputation and a bad reputation. There are many people in New York who admire his power, and there are also those who fear his power and believe that the current disasters in New York are caused by him. Many people praised him, while many others began to resist and protest against him. Regardless of what these people are like, it's all good for him, as his goodwill and malice values are increasing rapidly. The technology for metal clusters is about to be activated, it's just one step away from completion. It seems we need to speed things up, but I don't need to do it myself. Now that Harry has become a big shot, he no longer needs to fight off small fry himself, he can easily delegate the task to his subordinates. With this in mind, Harry contacted Grant Ward, asking him to lead the team, with Metsubujinrai.net as an assistant, the 5 Kamen Riders to participate, and the Thunder Special Forces to launch an attack. The goal is to eliminate all underground dark forces in Hell's Kitchen. Harry is going to uproot them. While his men did the dirty and tiring work, Harry lay down on the Quinjet and played games on his tablet. A teenager addicted to the internet has gone online. Grant Ward, having received Harry's orders, piloted the Quinjet, first picking up Metsubujinrai.net and then arriving at Hell's Kitchen. Using SHIELD satellite positioning, Grant and his team arrived at the territory of the villain Tombstone. The Quinjet hovered in the sky. Grant Ward, who had been trained and brainwashed by Hydra, and Natasha had completely different styles of doing things. He didn't disembark. Instead, he piloted his Quinjet and fired a missile at the Tombstone factory. With a loud bang, flames erupted everywhere. Enemy attack. Damn it, someone's broken in. Tombstone's henchmen were in complete chaos. Normally, gang fights involve guns, this is the first time someone has used a missile, isn't that just bullying people? ASHIELD plane. Tombstone ran out and looked at the sky. He was accompanied by wanderers dressed in black armor. Grant Ward detected the appearance of the Tombstone and immediately started firing his machine gun at it. The battle-hardened Tombstone shielded his eyes with his arm and braced himself with his body. The Tombstone's real name was Lonnie Thompson, a black man with albinism. It's a very old-fashioned plot, he gains invulnerability and superhuman strength in an accident. With his invulnerable body and ruthless methods, Tombstone became the supervillain and gangster boss of Hell's Kitchen. The bullets fired by the Quinjet aircraft had no effect on the Tombstone, they were completely blocked. Any other tricks up your sleeve? The invulnerable Tombstone shouted at the Quinjet. Despite being a supervillain, he's not afraid of SHIELD agents at all. Upon hearing what the Tombstone said, Grant Ward immediately made a judgment. The Quinjet was launched, and 1 person and 4 Humagears jumped out of the air. Transform. They transformed from the air, and 5 Kamen Riders descended from the sky, surrounding Tombstone and Wanderer. Chapter 54 Hell and Number 039, S Kitchen Falls. 5 Kamen Riders. Am I that important? Tombstone said hatefully. Even his former boss, Kingpin Wilson Fisker, was not subjected to this kind of mob attack. I never expected to be surrounded by Kamen Rider and his gang. Where's Harry Osborn? I need to speak with him, Tombstone said to the 5 Kamen Riders. Realizing he couldn't defeat the Gravestones no matter what, all he could think about now was surrendering to Harry Osborn. Someone as important as Harry probably needs a super henchman like him. But Tombstone didn't know that Harry would have died even faster if he were here. This is an order from Mr. Osborn, die. Grant Ward pulled out a firing driver and used it as a shooting weapon. It fired energy bullets at the Tombstone. The energy bullets collided with the impenetrable body of the Tombstone, sparks flying everywhere. Ouch! Although Tombstone was impervious to blades and bullets, Grant's bullets targeted the weak points of its joints, causing Tombstone great pain. Seeing that it was surrounded, the Wanderer jumped up, hoping to escape the battle by relying on the excellent jumping ability of its armor. If he had known the visitor was a Kamen Rider, he would have run away long ago, he wouldn't have gone to his death with Tombstone. Kamen Rider Suan, who was already on guard, jumped up along with him. They soared into the sky. The Swift's high mobility meant there were too many Wanderers, so it directly knocked them down. Then Kamen Rider Metsuba followed suit, using his left hand's retractable unit to shoot out spikes carrying chains, piercing through the Wanderer. The venom it carried quickly paralyzed the Wanderer. Although he was wearing armor, he was just an ordinary person. Paralyzed and unable to resist, Kamen Rider intervened in time, killing the Wanderer with a single claw strike. The supervillain Wanderer is unable to rise again. The 3 Kamen Riders worked together to defeat the Prowler in just 1 minute. Holy crap! Tombstone was completely stunned, never expecting his capable henchman to die so quickly. The 5 Kamen Riders reunited and surrounded Tombstone. Rider kick! Grant Ward, in charge, issued the attack order. The 5 Kamen Riders instantly unleashed their ultimate attacks, gathering the energy of the Progrise Key in their legs. Wait! Wait a minute! Tombstone exclaimed in terror, his eyes wide. But before he could finish speaking, he was kicked by the 5 knights. Boom! An explosion rang out, and the Tombstone was shattered to pieces by the energy kicked by the 5 knights, leaving no trace of the remains. The supervillain Tombstone cannot rise again. Unfortunately, Tombstone's men all escaped. These gangsters had no loyalty whatsoever, they ran away the moment they saw the infamous Thunder Special Forces. He didn't even turn his head. Looks like I'll be busy tonight, but that's exactly what I wanted. Grant Ward, with his destructive tendencies, enjoyed the thrill of the chase. He led Metsubujinrai.net in a massacre against Yakuza forces in Hell's Kitchen. Harry felt the increase in Ark and Zea's emotional value even on the Quinjet. Among them, Ark has the highest malice value because battles with gang forces inevitably cause large-scale chaos. Jingle bell! Nick Fury called Harry. Harry Osborn. It's time to end this war. Enough people have died in Hell's Kitchen. Nick Fury's angry voice came through the phone as soon as the call connected. Don't I remember you promised me that Hell's Kitchen would be mine? Harry retorted nonchalantly. I'm talking about handing Wilson Fisk over to you. What does this have to do with Hell's Kitchen? Nick Fury slammed his fist on the table and shouted. News of Harry Osborn having Grant lead the Thunderbolts to massacre Hell's Kitchen has spread throughout New York, and helicopters from major New York news outlets have been dispatched to Hell's Kitchen. Because the Thunder Force was established with Nick Fury's consent, the World Security Council is now holding SHIELD accountable. If Harry Osborn continues his reckless behavior, SHIELD will also be implicated. Ha 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 ha. Harry laughed loudly upon hearing Nick Fury's words. What's so funny, Harry? This is a very serious matter. Nick Fury said in a deep voice. What? Kingpin can be the master of Hell's Kitchen, but I can't. Harry retorted. It's different, Nick Fury replied, but was interrupted by Harry before he could finish. How is this different? How many crimes did Kingpin commit when he was in power? How many parents lost their children? How many children lost their parents? Back then, SHIELD didn't stop him. Now that some low-level gangsters have died, you're suddenly playing the good guy. Harry's words silenced Nick Fury for a moment, concerned only with global security, he had indeed overlooked some minor crimes. However, I'm not a bad guy. I'm a very kind person. If you give me some of S.H.I.E.Ds vibranium and adamantium, I can promise to stop. Harry's malice value is high enough to activate the metal cluster technology. However, the fabrication of metal cluster sublimation keys requires special alloys and nanotechnology. Although he can now directly create the metal cluster locust program sublimation key, it doesn't offer him much of an improvement. Therefore, he needs to fuse a large amount of vibranium and adamantium alloy to see if he can create a more perfect metal cluster program sublimation key. He then combined the Scarlet Spider program sublimation key to develop an even more powerful key that was better suited to his own needs. So Harry focused his attention on SHIELD, refusing to believe that SHIELD didn't have vibranium and adamantium. Just then, Nick Fury contacted him. How about this deal? Nick Fury grew increasingly silent, deeply hesitant about whether to hand over the vibranium and adamantium to Harry. Harry Osborn is now unstoppable. He can't command anyone in the Thunder Special Forces except for Black Widow Natasha. Even Grant Ward no longer obeyed his commands. This is because Grant Ward was a member of Hydra and infiltrated Harry's ranks under Hydra's orders. Grant had completely brainwashed himself and was now completely obedient to Harry's orders. Grant can only be restored to normal if the Hydra leadership gives him a keyword instruction. However, Nick Fury was unaware of this. He believed that Grant had betrayed SHIELD and was with Harry Osborn. Now Nick Fury faces a choice: hand over the vibranium and adamantium or become Harry Osborn's enemy. It wasn't a difficult choice. Nick Fury had no choice but to back down, as SHIELD no longer had the means to counterbalance Harry Osborn. We can't expect Captain America to do it. I agree to your conditions, but SHIELD doesn't have vibranium, only some adamantium. Chapter 55 Absorbing Dragon Bones. After some discussion, Harry finally agreed to Nick Fury's conditions and stopped the massacre at Hell's Kitchen. His condition was a small amount of vibranium plus a large piece of adamantium. Natasha, the Black Widow, will collect it and then give it to Harry. After agreeing to the terms, Harry called Grant Ward to inform him to call it a day. However, during the phone call, she unexpectedly learned some news. Dragon bones. Harry suddenly remembered that Hell's Kitchen had such a thing. The main reason the hand expanded its influence in Hell's Kitchen was for this dragon bone. Legend has it that these dragon bones can enhance strength and prolong life. The power of the evil beast comes from this dragon bone. Natasha, send me to Hell's Kitchen. After Black Widow Natasha cleaned up the secret base, she met up with Harry. After Gustav and the superpowered girl Pity died, no one in the entire secret base was a match for Natasha, including the Ratman doctor who had a lot of blood drained by Gustav. With the new form of Kamen Rider Thunder Hornet, Natasha was able to clear out the minions much faster, and soon wiped out everyone in the secret base. The Quinjet was very fast, and Harry arrived there in no time. He then instructed Natasha to retrieve vibranium and adamantium. Then he went to the old residential building in Hell's Kitchen. Grant Ward and the 4 Humagears from Destroyer.net were already waiting for his arrival. Let's go. Harry gave the order, and Grant immediately led the way to the underground. The hand had already dug a tunnel underground and built a basement. Harry and his friends went to the basement. A strange machine stabilized a crack in the ground the size of a little finger. A dazzling golden light shone faintly from within the crack. Is this the dragon bone? Harry had thought the dragon bone was a bone-like thing, but now he realized it was a kind of energy. And it seems to possess a living energy. This energy is extremely powerful. If Harry can absorb this power, his strength will definitely increase to another level. However, absorbing this power is a difficult task. The hand has been infiltrating Hell's Kitchen for so long, but they've only managed to extract energy from it bit by bit. The dragon bones were not buried underground, but sealed underground. The dragon bones are encased in a barrier, and no one can obtain them unless the barrier is broken. Fortunately, the hand opened a crack. Harry reached out and touched the crack, feeling the energy within. A warm energy coiled around his fingers. It seems like it can be stored in an interdimensional pocket. Harry could touch this energy, so it should be able to be stored in an interdimensional pocket. With that in mind, HA used his telepathy to absorb the dragon bone through his dimensional pocket. Harry absorbed the dazzling golden energy, and soon the space, which was only 1 cubic meter, was filled with dragon bones. Is this all we can take? Harry murmured. But just then, the pocket of the other dimensional space grew larger. It began to rapidly absorb the keel within the space. The dazzling golden dragon bones were completely absorbed by the interdimensional pocket. Harry felt the dimensional pocket inside him expand to 3 cubic meters. It has this function. Harry was surprised to discover how to upgrade the dimensional pocket. It can expand its space after absorbing special energy. Furthermore, the expanded interdimensional pocket has undergone some new changes, seemingly gaining some new functions, though Harry is not yet aware of them. Harry's eyes lit up. Since the dragon bones could expand his dimensional pocket, he would absorb them all. With that thought, Harry stretched out his finger and absorbed the remaining energy from the dragon bone through the crack in the barrier. A dazzling golden energy surged within the barrier, and as time passed, Harry absorbed all the energy from the dragon bones underground. The extra-dimensional pocket inside his body has been expanded to 100 cubic meters. It's like having an extra 3-bedroom, 1 living room house inside your body. Moreover, after absorbing the dragon bone, he understood the extra functions of the extra-dimensional pocket within his body. Harry connected his mind to the interdimensional pocket, and instantly he disappeared from the real world. My body has entered the other dimensional pocket. Harry looked around at the world, 100 cubic meters in size, with a golden spatial barrier. This is the current ability of the interdimensional pocket. It can collect living beings, including itself. It's similar to Obito Uchiha's Kamui with one eye. Enter this space within the body's range. However, like Obito Uchiha, he lacks Kakashi's Sharingan and cannot activate Kamui from a distance. Only things that the body can touch can be stored in the pocket of the other dimensional space. Even so, he was quite satisfied. Furthermore, if we encounter similar special energy again in the future, we can further evolve the extra-dimensional pocket space, and who knows, we might even gain even more powerful abilities. Having absorbed the energy from the dragon bone, Harry prepared to leave Hell's Kitchen. The criminal elements in Hell's Kitchen have been largely eliminated, and those who remain, knowing the danger, have already left for other places and dare not stay here any longer. Grant Ward, after all, was a professional agent, a graduate of Hydra's advanced technical school, and was extremely ruthless. The killings are so severe that it's estimated no one in Hell's Kitchen will dare to commit crimes for a long time to come. Everyone in Hell's Kitchen knows that the Thunder Force is slaughtering criminals there. The Punisher, whose motto was "If you are guilty, you shall die," also took advantage of the chaos to strike and kill many criminals. He didn't choose to antagonize the Thunder Commandos because Harry Osborn was too powerful now, and he wouldn't easily become their enemy without being absolutely certain of victory. Furthermore, those killed were only some insignificant criminals. Even Matt, the daredevil from Hell's Kitchen, couldn't stop Harry. He was seriously injured by Harry just a couple of days ago and hasn't recovered yet. His girlfriend, Erica, was afraid he would go out and get himself killed, so she even tied him up at home. After Kingpin and the Hand were destroyed, the assassin Erica lost her target and now works with Daredevil Matt, and the two are inseparable. Just then, Harry was about to board the Quinjet. He sensed some irregular changes in the extra-dimensional pocket space within his body. What's going on? Harry was very confused, thinking that there was a problem with the interdimensional pocket space. But when he looked up, he saw something he couldn't believe. Huge spatial rifts appeared in the sky. "What's that up there?" Harry exclaimed, pointing to the sky. Grant looked up when he heard this, but he saw nothing. "Reporting to you, sir, the sky is clear and there is nothing there." "How could there be nothing there?" Harry exclaimed. Suddenly, Harry fell silent, because he vaguely heard sounds coming from the spatial rift in the sky. People of different genders, races, and languages are all calling out one name. Peter Parker. Chapter 56 Spider-Man, Tom Holland. Before Harry could speak to Grant, he was teleported away by a strange force. Fortunately, he was prepared and took Sun and me, who were closest to him, with him in his other dimensional pocket space before leaving. In an instant, Harry found himself standing on a street that was both strange and familiar. This is New York City, but it's clearly much more bustling than the New York City he knew before. A live news broadcast is playing in Times Square, New York. This is the Daily Bugle's outdoor live stream. We can see that Spider-Man Peter Parker is fighting a monster with 4 mechanical tentacles on his back. A reporter was broadcasting live from a helicopter, showing Spider-Man Peter Parker, dressed in a nanotech suit, battling Dr. Octopus on the bridge. It's obvious that Spider-Man is the symbol of chaos. Wherever he goes, there will be war and death. He is the real supervillain. Inside the news studio, Jameson, the owner of the Daily Bugle, is condemning Spider-Man Peter Parker's behavior. Upon seeing this, Harry immediately understood where this world was. This is the MCU, the world of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The current storyline is exactly like Spider-Man 3, No Return. Mysterio has revealed Spider-Man Peter Parker's identity. Now the whole world knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Spider-Man Peter Parker, whose life, studies, friends, family, and lover are all affected, chooses the wrong method. He asks Marvel's troublemaker Doctor Strange to use magic to make the whole world lose their memories and forget their true identities. However, the talkative Peter Parker spoke out of turn while Doctor Strange was casting the spell, causing the spell to malfunction and triggering a response from everyone in the multiverse who knew Peter Parker's identity as Spider-Man. Some of them came to this parallel world, but Dr. Curious managed to control the spell in time, preventing more people from coming to this parallel universe. Otherwise, a multiverse crisis will erupt. Harry was brought to this universe because he knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. Also present were Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Sandman, Green Goblin, and Dr. Octopus. Garfield's Spider-Man and the Lizard are from the parallel universe where Harry is. The original storyline included the arrival of Electro, but in Harry's parallel universe, Max is working on creating Humagears. He is not the supervillain Electro, but just an ordinary person. Therefore, it was not transported to this MCU universe. Harry Osborn replaces Electro as a supervillain and arrives in this universe. "I'm really lucky," Harry muttered to himself. In this universe, Thor is away on another planet, and Captain Marvel is not there either. Dr. Banner, Hulk, is missing an arm. Captain America retired due to old age. Scarlet Witch is still playing house in the town. Iron Man Tony Stark has heroically perished alongside the cosmic overlord Thanos. Ant-Man is also preparing to head to the quantum realm. The entire Avengers were reduced to a bunch of weaklings and Doctor Strange. Now, no one in New York can stop Harry. He can complete his plans in this parallel universe. Of course, this is all predicated on the fact that Peter Parker in this world has trapped Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension. Therefore, he cannot take action personally at this time. Fortunately, he brought out 2 Humagears, Metsubu and Jin. He could send a Humagear to contact Spider-Man Peter Parker in his place. With that in mind, Harry found an alley without surveillance cameras and released Kamen Rider Jin. He then went alone to Stark Tower in Manhattan, New York, which is also known as the Avengers Tower. There he found what he wanted: nanometals and vibranium, as well as Iron Man's various special metal armors. You could say that Stark Tower is a treasure trove. Moreover, apart from Pepper Potts, who can wear the rescue armor, the entire Stark Tower has no combat capabilities. While Harry was waiting outside Stark Tower, Sun, under Harry's orders, flew up near the military research facility outside New York City to await the arrival of Spider-Man, Peter Parker. It was evening. Spider-Man Peter Parker, the Dutch Spider, arrives here with the help of his friends. Did you see that? Tom Holland's Spider-Man, dressed in a black suit with a smartphone strapped to his chest, was making a remote video call and looking around. The video features his good friend Ned and his girlfriend MJ Michelle Jones. No, it's too dark. Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, cautiously surveyed his surroundings. Just then, Kamen Rider Jin, who had already transformed, flew up into the sky behind him. Tom Holland's Spider-Man sensed something, and he turned around sharply, seeing Kamen Rider Jin flying in the sky. What is this? A pink falcon? Should I call Sam? Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, quipped. This is no time for jokes, Peter, teleport him over here quickly. MJ Michelle shouted. Received, received. Spider-Man Tom Holland tried to slowly approach, then used the magical gauntlet given to him by Doctor Strange on his right hand to fire a teleportation beam, attempting to teleport Kamen Rider Jin to the underground of Sanctum Sanctorum. However, having been warned by Harry, Kamen Rider Jin already knew Spider-Man Tom Holland's moves, and he nimbly dodged the attack in mid-air. Then the teleportation beam hit the ground, and a tree was teleported into the sanctuary's basement. After dodging the attack, Kamen Rider Jin spread his wings and launched his own attack, sending dozens of projectiles hurtling towards Spider-Man, Tom Holland. Damn it! Tom Holland, playing Spider-Man, used his web shooter to launch himself away and dodge the attack, but the power tower beneath him was hit by an explosion. Several power towers were blown down. Just then, the ground shook, the sand surged, and a sand-formed person flew over. Peter. It's me, Frank Marco, Sandman said as he approached Tom Holland, who played Spider-Man. I am Peter, but not the Peter you know, Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, said awkwardly. What does this mean, Peter? Sandman wasn't very bright and couldn't understand what Tom Holland, Spider-Man, meant. Help block that person on the other side first, I'll tell you later. Then, with the help of Sandman, Kamen Rider Jin was taken to the underground of the Supreme Palace, into the magical dungeon. Dr. Octopus and the Lizard Man are already imprisoned there. Soon after, the Sandman was also teleported over. Chapter 57 Rescuer Armor. Inside the Sanctum Sanctorum dungeon in Doctor Strange. The Sand People were also teleported here. What happened? Sandman looked at the villains around him, who were imprisoned in magical cages. He. The Lizardman chuckled wickedly from the side. Dr. Connors. Sun, who was sent by Harry to advance the plot, had already deactivated his transformation and revealed his true appearance as he asked the Lizardman. Wait a minute, you know this monster? Dr. Octopus said in shock. He thought it was just a monster, but he didn't expect there to be more to it than met the eye. This isn't a monster, he's a human, Dr. Connors, a scientist from the Osborn Corporation. Sun had been programmed by Harry beforehand. As a Humagear, Sun, although he did not awaken his emotional technology singularity, was able to complete his daily conversations and work independently. When Harry gave him a task, he naturally advanced the plot without making anyone realize that he was a robot. I am not a monster. All of this is for the great evolution of humanity. Soon you will become like me. They come from one universe. At that moment, Ned and MJ Michelle walked over. Seriously, this dinosaur can talk? That's incredible. And where did that person's pink mecha go? Is that nanotechnology? Ned said with a look of amazement. Just as everyone was advancing the plot here, Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland, arrived at the shelter after receiving a message from Aunt May. Inside the shelter, supervillain Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, and Aunt May are having a friendly conversation. Green Goblin feigned innocence, which made Aunt May and Spider-Man, Tom Holland, lower their guard. I don't know what Aunt May was thinking, or what was wrong with her brain, that she came to the conclusion that she needed to help Green Goblin Norman Osborn and the other supervillains. Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland, was initially calm, but after hearing Aunt May's moral blackmail, he brought Green Goblin to the Sanctum Sanctorum dungeon. He could have used his right-hand teleportation magic to send the Green Goblin there directly, but instead they had to walk there together. Then Green Goblin arrived at the sanctuary and, after being reminded by Sandman, learned that he was already dead. Dr. Octopus also learned of this news, and the Lizardman, guided by Suen, also believed that he was dead. News of the villains' deaths reached Tom Holland's ears as Spider-Man. Spider-Man's maternal instincts immediately triggered an alarm. After Doctor Strange arrived, he refused to let these supervillains return to their original world. He first used a trick to trap Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension. Then, with his backside, he made a decision to take the 5 supervillains out of the Sanctum Sanctorum dungeon into Happy's upscale apartment in downtown New York City, where he would use Stark Industries' high-tech manufacturing machines to create something that could cure these supervillains. The idea of treating supervillains and restoring some of those who were forced into villainy to normalcy is good, but why bring 5 supervillains along? Wouldn't it have been better to bring the machine into the Sanctum Sanctorum dungeon? In short, Tom Holland, the Spider-Man with an amazing IQ, suddenly lost his mind and stopped considering the safety of other citizens in the apartment. That's just how he decided it was. Harry waited and waited at the Stark Group building before finally receiving news from Suen. Doctor Strange was trapped. With Doctor Strange trapped, Harry was finally able to proceed with the next step of his plan without any further action. Harry first released Mech and ordered Mech to hack into Stark Industries' network to obtain Pepper Potts' location. Harry's artificial intelligence is not yet at a high enough level to leave his body. Things like hacking into the network can only be done when Arc Zero is activated. Now he can only use the all-powerful Humajir Nergigant to hack into networks. Stark Industries possesses advanced anti-hacking technology, and although its technology is very sophisticated, it is still insufficient in the eyes of Stark Industries, which has artificial intelligence Friday. Of course, Harry didn't need to completely hack into Stark Industries' entire network. He only needed to hack into the surveillance equipment to find out Pepper Potts' whereabouts. Even if he only hacked into it for 0.01 seconds, it would be more than enough. Ms. Potts, someone has compromised the network for 0.01 seconds. Should we go on alert? Friday, with a young woman's voice, asked Pepper Potts. Activate the rescue armor and go on alert. Pepper Potts had participated in a cosmic war like the Avengers vs. Thanos' army, and even though the enemy had only been infiltrating for 0.01 seconds, she immediately noticed something was wrong. And her 6-year-old daughter with Tony Stark is here right now. She needed to summon the rescuer armor immediately to prevent any accidents. After receiving the order, the AI Friday opened the mechanical wall behind Pepper Potts, revealing the rescue armor inside, which then approached Pepper Potts. Normally, it would only take Pepper Potts 3 seconds to put on the rescuer armor. But at that moment, a red shadow flew in through the window and shattered the Stark Tower's super bulletproof glass. Harry descended from the sky in his assault shining crimson armor. 6 blood red, shimmering crystals floated in the air. Miss Pepper Potts, I advise you to stop, Harry said in a low voice, his tone devoid of any emotion. Harry was now standing next to Pepper Potts' daughter. 3 seconds is still too short for a mother to put on her rescuer's armor. Pepper Potts was forced to abandon her choice of clothing. What is your purpose? Pepper Potts said calmly. She knew that at this moment, she could only remain calm, being anxious would not save her and her daughter. She wasn't without a backup plan. When Miss Friday saw Pepper Potts in danger, she automatically notified Falcon Sam and War Machine Colonel Rhodes. Miss Pepper Potts, please raise your hands and make no unnecessary movements as you come to your daughter. Remember, don't make any unnecessary movements. I don't want to hurt you. Harry's emotionless words left Pepper Potts speechless and without any room for resistance. She carefully approached her daughter, hugged her, and comforted her, telling her not to be afraid. As expected of Iron Man's daughter, she didn't cry even in the face of such a situation. Harry saw that Pepper Potts didn't make any move, then he flashed to the rescuer armor and touched it. He immediately stored the rescuer armor in his interdimensional pocket space. Although this rescuer armor is not a nanotech armor, it is equipped with many high-tech weapons. For example, it features enhanced palm cannons and chest cannons, and is also equipped with ion cannons and laser weapons, etc. With this rescuer armor, Harry will be able to analyze the technology that Iron Man Tony uses in this parallel universe. Kamen Rider plus Iron Man's high-tech weapons, just thinking about it is awesome. Chapter 58 says it and number 039, okay to go ahead. You've got what you wanted, now get out of here, Pepper Potts said, holding her daughter. Who said I only want this one suit of armor? Harry turned around and looked at Pepper Potts. I want it all. That's impossible. These Iron Man suits were left by Tony. I can't give them all to you, Pepper Potts refused. After Tony's death, the suits he left behind became a source of comfort for Pepper Potts. She often looks at the armor when she is in pain or missing Tony Stark. I'm easy to talk to. I can lower my demands. I want that nanotech armor and vibranium and adamantium, Harry said in a deep voice. Then, 6 shimmering crystals next to him shot out blood-red lasers that pierced through the floor. But I'll only give you 1 minute, Pepper Potts. Don't test my patience. I don't know if I'll be this easy next time. Threatened by Harry, Pepper Potts had no choice but to order the delivery of the nano armor Mark 84 on Friday. This suit of armor was the one before the number 85 suit Tony wore in the final battle. It is also made of nanotech armor. Compared to the Mark 85, this Mark 84 is very similar. Except for the fact that it cannot carry Infinity Stones and is somewhat weak in defense, its firepower is almost the same. In addition to the Mark 84 armor, Miss Friday also delivered 2 black boxes with a robotic arm containing vibranium and adamantium. Harry walked over and put the Mark 84 armor and the 2 black boxes into his interdimensional pocket space. Thank you for your cooperation. I look forward to seeing you again. After saying that, Harry ignored Pepper Potts, who had a dark expression on her face, and jumped into the Stark Tower window. He was surrounded by 6 blood-red, shimmering crystals, which granted him the ability to fly. Guided by Humagears, Harry headed towards Happy Mansion. Inside the apartment, Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, is preparing a restorative serum for Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. But at that moment, he suddenly sensed danger. Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, walks into the living room, where Green Goblin, Sandman, Dr. Octopus, and Soon are standing. His spider sense increasingly sensed impending danger. Green Goblin Norman also noticed something was off about Spider-Man Tom Holland. He reached out to pull out the pumpkin bomb, but Spider-Man, Tom Holland, was faster. He used his webs to trap Green Goblin Norman's hand. Your perception is truly remarkable. Green Goblin Norman's expression instantly turned evil and mocking. Norman. Dr. Octopus also noticed something was wrong and asked nervously. Norman has already gone on vacation. Wait, don't speak. Before Green Goblin Norman could finish speaking, Spider-Man Tom Holland interrupted him. Because his spider sense is still active, he senses that the danger is not coming from Green Goblin Norman. Tom Holland, playing Spider-Man, nervously looked around. What's going on? Even the not-so-bright Sandman sensed that something was wrong. Norman Green Goblin remained silent, knowing that Tom Holland, who played Spider-Man, must have sensed something. Everyone in the room was extremely tense, except for one person, Humagears Soon. He stood by the window expressionlessly, as if waiting for something. Finally, everyone noticed that something was wrong with Soon. What have you done? Green Goblin Norman was extremely evil at this moment. Regardless of who the other party was, knowing that the other party was in trouble, he launched an attack on Soon. But at that moment, Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, suddenly shouted. Get down! As Tom Holland, playing Spider-Man, shouted, a red laser beam shot out from outside the window, causing a small explosion. Green Goblin was blasted away, but Dr. Octopus, who had become a good guy, used his mechanical powers to block the impact, while Aunt May was pulled behind him. Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, also protects Aunt May. The explosion did not cause a significant impact, and no one was injured. Because Harry held back, he came here for Stark Industries' manufacturing machine. That would be very useful to him as well. Harry flew in through the window, deactivated his transformation, and looked at the people who were on high alert. At that moment, Harry suddenly felt his spider sense activate. Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, is also involved. The spider-like connection between the two resonates with each other. You're Spider-Man too. Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, looked at Harry in surprise. He hadn't expected that the enemy would be someone like him. Could it be his counterpart from a parallel universe? Harry Osborn. The lizardman jumped in through the outside window, looking at Harry's face, a face he recognized. As a scientist at the Osborn Corporation, his main job was to find a breakthrough in treating the Osborn family's genetic disease, so he had seen Harry Osborn's files. Although Harry had never met him, he knew Harry. Harry. Norman, the Green Goblin from another parallel universe, walked over. He was enhanced by the Green Goblin potion, and the explosion had not injured him. Norman Osborn broke free from the Green Goblin's control upon hearing the name Harry Osborn. No, you're not him. Are you Harry from another parallel universe? Green Goblin Norman walked closer and closer to Harry. Oh? Norman Osborn? My father from another world. Harry looked at the Green Goblin with a hint of goodwill in his eyes and walked towards Norman Osborn. I happen to have a small gift for you, please accept it. Harry instantly transforming into his assault shining crimson armor form, pulling out his authorized destroyer axe form, and slashing at Green Goblin Norman with his axe. No. Stop. Tom Holland, playing Spider-Man, fired his webs at Harry, which wrapped around Harry's hand holding the axe. The Sandman reacted quickly and wrapped Harry's body in sand. Green Goblin Norman laughed maniacally, having forcibly taken over Norman's sanity when he encountered danger. Ha ha ha! You're not him! You're not him! Green Goblin Norman charged madly at Harry. Two major villains, along with Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland, team up to take action. The Lizardman, being from a parallel universe with Harry, did not intervene at this time, while Dr. Octopus was protecting Aunt May. Harry glanced at the three of them and smiled disdainfully. He first broke free from the Sandman's restraints, easily breaking free with the strength of 100 tons. Then he kicked Green Goblin Norman to the ground. That kick broke several of Green Goblin's bones, leaving him unable to stand up for a moment. Then Harry raised the axe in his hand and swung it down hard at the charging Spider-Man, Tom Holland. Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, has a spider sense, and so does Harry Potter. The spider sensory responses cancel each other out. He is Spider-Man's nemesis. Harry chopped Tom Holland's chest with an axe, but Holland's suit had nanomaterials that gathered together to block most of the axe's power, although it still injured Spider-Man. But it wasn't fatal, considering Harry didn't hold back. Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, lies on the ground in pain, clutching his bleeding chest. Peter. Aunt May saw Peter was injured and rushed over desperately, but was stopped by Dr. Octopus. Harry walked toward Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, with the axe in hand. Stop! Harry. He's your father from a parallel universe. Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, struggled to his feet and shouted at Harry. Harry glanced at Tom Holland's Spider-Man, then at the authorization destroyer in his hand. It says it's okay to go in. Chapter 59 Strange High School Student. It says we can go in now. Harry swung the authorization destroyer and chopped off Green Goblin Norman's head with an axe. Kamen Rider's father? That's a high-risk profession. Blood splattered everywhere, and Harry, dressed in blood-red Kamen Rider armor, looked like a demon. Ah! Tom Holland, playing Spider-Man, struggled to his feet and threw a punch at Harry. Driven by the death of Green Goblin Norman, Spider-Man Tom Holland attacks Harry relentlessly, determined to defeat this cruel enemy before him. Harry, connected to the artificial intelligence Zea, easily evaded Peter's attacks. Tom Holland's Spider-Man couldn't even touch Harry's body. Humph! Harry didn't want to get entangled with Tom Holland's Spider-Man any longer. He put away the authorization destroyer and seized the opportunity to grab Tom Holland's Spider-Man by the neck with his right hand. Have you made enough of a scene? Harry looked coldly at Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man. Spider-Man Tom Holland refused to give up, even with his neck being choked, he still swung his fists and punched Harry's body with all his might. Unfortunately, with his neck being choked, he couldn't exert any force and his powerless punches couldn't break through Harry's defense. Harry, provoked, couldn't stand it. He threw Tom Holland, who played Spider-Man, into the air and then rapidly swung his fists, attacking Holland like bullets. Tom Holland's Spider-Man was beaten so badly he was swaying in the air like a rag doll. No! Aunt May saw this and desperately tried to rush forward, but Dr. Octopus grabbed her tightly. Dr. Octopus had already regained his senses with the help of Spider-Man, Tom Holland, and was no longer the brainless villain he used to be. He knew he was no match for Harry, the guy was just too powerful. So all he could do was protect Aunt May and keep her from getting hurt. You, stop! The Sandman beside him gathered sand and formed a giant hammer, which he then swung at Harry. Sandman needs to save Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland, because Holland is key to his return to his original universe. The sand hammer slammed into Harry's scarlet armor. With a loud bang, the Sandman's attack interrupted Harry's actions. Harry tossed the nearly dead Spider-Man, Tom Holland, aside, wiped the intact armor with his hand, and noted that the armor, fused with adamantium, was still no match for minor villains like Sandman. Sandman, what a troublesome fellow, Harry muttered to himself. He fired a laser from the crimson glittering crystal, blasting the Sandman's head off, but the Sandman quickly reassembled himself from the sand. This is equivalent to a Logia-type devil fruit, it's still difficult to harm the Sandman with physical attacks alone. Although water can subdue the Sand People, there is no need to get too entangled with them now. Harry ignored the Sandman, after all, the guy couldn't hurt him anyway. He walked up to Tom Holland, who had recovered a little, though he still couldn't stand up. Harry took out a syringe from his interdimensional pocket and inserted it into the vein in Spider-Man Tom Holland's arm. Then Harry had a vial of blood drawn. Harry wants to see how the Spider-Man serum in a parallel universe differs from the one in his world. Mr. Osborn, I am Dr. Kurt Connors, a scientist from the Osborn Corporation, the Lizardman said, approaching Harry in a friendly manner. Dr. Connors? I've heard of you. Harry remembered who this ugly monster in front of him was. Mr. Osborn, we. Before Dr. Connors could finish speaking, Harry swung his authorization destroyer axe and chopped off his head. Thanks to his remarkable regenerative abilities, the lizard man Connors did not die for a time. His head rolled to the ground, his eyes filled with resentment, looking at Harry with confusion, as if questioning why he had done this. It's because you, old man, turned into a lizardman and caused trouble everywhere, that my Osborn Group's stock dropped by several points. Harry had no time to reminisce with the lizardman, he was just a supervillain, whom he could kill with a flick of his wrist. The ruthless and cruel Harry Osborn immediately stunned everyone present. Even the saintly Aunt Meryl Streep dared not say things like, "A supervillain's life is a life too, a supervillain has human rights, and a supervillain deserves to be saved." Humidgear quickly transformed into Kamen Rider and moved the high-tech manufacturing machine from inside the house. Harry put the high-tech manufacturing machine and Soon into his interdimensional pocket space. Then, ignoring everyone else, he took to the air and left. Outside the luxury apartment building, the Daily Bugle is filming a live broadcast. Meanwhile, on the other side, Ned and MJ Michelle saw the live broadcast from the Daily Bugle and learned that the Happy Mansion had been attacked. The two were very worried because they couldn't get in touch with Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man. While the two were debating whether to immediately press the button on the magical device given to them by Doctor Strange to send all the people from the parallel universes away. A strange high school student named Ned unexpectedly discovers that he has magical talent. Without any formal training, he was able to open a magical portal simply by wearing the sling ring. He is the best among us. I hope to see Peter. Strange high school student Ned waved one hand. Magical sparks flew in the air as a magical portal opened. Ned and MJ Michelle looked over and saw a person dressed in a red and blue Spider-Man suit standing in the alley on the other side of the portal. Peter. Peter. Here. The two thought it was Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and shouted loudly, calling out to Peter. Spider-Man Peter heard the sound, looked back, and saw the magical portal. He ran through it as fast as he could. When Grandma Ned saw Spider-Man Peter, she screamed and threw things at him. To lower everyone's guard, Spider-Man Peter had no choice but to remove his mask and reveal his harmless face. I am Peter Parker, I am Spider-Man. The person who came was none other than Peter Parker, Spider-Man, from the same universe as Harry Osborn. After some proof, Ned and MJ Michelle were finally able to accept that he was Peter Parker from a parallel universe. So you opened the wrong portal and summoned the wrong Peter Parker, MJ Michelle said to Ned. I am the real Peter Parker, Spider-Man Peter Parker declared. However, the two, worried about Tom Holland's Spider-Man, ignored him at this moment, and the strange high school student Ned decided to open the magic portal again. Find Peter Parker. There was no response. Find Peter Parker. Find Peter Parker. Finally, on the strange high school student's third attempt, the magical portal opened. Chapter 60 New Revenge Assembles. On the other side, Aunt May is bandaging the wounds of Spider-Man, Tom Holland. What should I do now? I need to go back, Peter, the Sandman cried out in anguish. His daughter was still waiting for him in the original universe. Now all he wants is to go home and find his daughter. Calm down, William, Dr. Octopus advised from the side. Peter's injuries are not serious, and I believe he will be able to stand up soon. Spider-Man is Spider-Man after all, even after being beaten up by Harry, he wasn't seriously injured. A simple bandage and some rest were all it took for him to recover. Let's go find Ned and MJ, Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, said to the group as he got up from the ground. Harry Osborn stole the high-tech manufacturing machine. We don't know what his purpose is, but we must stop him. The current group of people combined are no match for Harry, so Spider-Man Tom Holland decides to find a magical teleportation device to send Harry and the others back to their previous parallel universe. After everything that has happened, Aunt May no longer stubbornly insists on saving all the supervillains. The main problem was that Harry Osborn was too ruthless, killing two people in the blink of an eye, and even Spider-Man, Tom Holland, almost fell victim to his schemes. Just then, Falcon Sam, dressed in a blue and white star-spangled suit and holding Captain America's shield, flew in through the window. Sandman and Dr. Octopus instantly went into battle mode, one surged with sand, while the other extended two mechanical octopus claws. Wait a minute, everyone, calm down, these are our own people. Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, called out to the group that was about to start a fight. Peter, why are there so many weirdos here? Falcon Sam complained, putting away Captain America's shield. Hey, maybe next time you, a normal person, should learn to take the stairs instead of jumping out of the window, Dr. Octopus retorted. Stop arguing, everyone, seriously, calm down, Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, reminded everyone again. Especially now, there are even more important things to do. Just then, the sound of a door opening came from the entrance. May. Happy ran in from outside the door, hugged Aunt May, and anxiously checked if she was hurt. Cough cough cough. A coughing sound came from the doorway, and Bucky, the Winter Soldier, walked in. Happy and Aunt May, who had been embracing, shyly let go of each other. "You're really slow, Bucky," Falcon Sam joked. "Who told you not to bring me up? I had to take the elevator." "And I already told you, don't call me Bucky," Bucky retorted. "Gentlemen, stop talking, we have more important things to do now." Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, said helplessly. He used to be the most immature person in the team, but now he's matured a lot after Harry Osborn gave him a good beating. But somehow his teammates seem to have become immature. "All right, Peter Parker. Tell me what you did to cause so many freaks to appear in downtown New York City." Falcon Sam turned serious, his already dark face hardening. Meanwhile, Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, stared at Tom Holland, the Spider-Man, with dead fish eyes. This. Under the serious treatment of the two men, Tom Holland, who played Spider-Man, could only stammer as he recounted the whole story from beginning to end. "You mean, you went to Doctor Strange to try and change everyone's memories, but you messed it up and brought a dangerous supervillain from a parallel universe into this world? Am I right, Peter?" Falcon Sam said each word seriously. "That's roughly right, isn't it?" Tom Holland's Spider-Man voice trailed off, as if he were talking to his elementary school teacher. "Wait a minute, none of that matters. The important thing is to find a way to send them back." Doctor Strange left behind a magical device. Spider-Man Tom Holland realized that this was the most important thing. Who knows how many more people will die while Harry Osborn, this supervillain, is out there. "We'll talk about this later. Let's deal with the enemy in the parallel universe first," Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, said. Falcon Sam nodded in agreement. "Do you know anything about this enemy?" "We've received information that he stole the Iron Man suit left behind by Tony Stark from the Stark Industries building," Falcon Sam said. "What?" "All I know is that his name is Harry Osborn, he's from the Osborn Corporation in a parallel universe, he has the same spider sensibility as me, and he can transform into a blood-red spider-shaped armored warrior. He's incredibly powerful." Spider-Man Tom Holland said very seriously. "He is extremely cruel and bloodthirsty. He has already killed 2 people here and stolen Stark Industries' high-tech manufacturing equipment and my blood." "What?" Now it was Happy's turn to be surprised. That thing was left to him by Tony, but he didn't expect it to be stolen. A person who commits such cruel murders must have a very evil plan. "We must stop him immediately," Falcon Sam said. At this point, Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, borrowed Happy's phone and called MJ Michelle. His own phone was damaged in the fight. After making the call, he learned that there were actually 2 other Spider-Man Peter Parkers from parallel universes there. To prevent any accidents, the group decided to meet with the Spider-Man from a parallel universe at the Statue of Liberty in New York City. The area is currently under reconstruction, and hardly anyone goes near it. Falcon Sam also called Colonel Rhodes, the War Machine, who was also waiting, and they went together. Now led by the new Captain America, Falcon Sam, the team consists of 3 Spider-Men, Peter Parker, War Machine Colonel Rhodes, Winter Soldier Bucky, Sandman, and Dr. Octopus. A team of 8 super soldiers is practically a new Avengers team assembled. Their enemy is Kamen Rider Harry Osborn from another world. This will be the first war fought by the new Avengers. Falcon Sam led everyone to the Statue of Liberty, where he opened a magical portal on the scaffolding at the top. 2 Spider-Men emerged from inside. I was thrilled to meet up with Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man. After exchanging pleasantries, Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, asked the 2 men a question. "Is there a Harry Osborn in your world?" The 2 Spider-Men looked at each other in bewilderment. "He was my best friend, but we ended up on opposite sides in an accident, and now he's gone," Toby Spider-Man said sadly. "He's also a good friend of mine. Although we have different beliefs, he's a superhero in my world." "Kamen Rider," said Peter Spider, who is Spider-Man from Harry's world. "It seems our enemy is none other than Harry Osborn from your world," Tom Holland, Spider-Man, said to Tobey Maguire. "Because it sounds like Harry Osborn is a superhero in another parallel universe, but becomes a villain in the world of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man." "No, he's not Harry Osborn from our world," Sandman said, having also seen Harry from his own world. "What? Harry Osborn is a superhero in your world? What? Harry's become the villain in this world." The 2 Spider-Men then realized who their opponent was. End of the video.